A regular meeting of the City Council held in Council Chambers on Thursday, November 17, 2016 at 7 o'clock p.m. for the purpose of transacting any and all business. Notice this meeting was posted on November 14, 2016 at 11:35 a.m. This meeting is being taped and is live on SATV. Please turn your cell phone ringers off. All councilors are present. Council President Terrio presiding. Councilor Dibble moves to dispense with the reading of the record of the previous meeting. All those in favor? Opposed? So moved. I now request that everyone please rise to recite the Pledge of Allegiance led by Councilor Milo.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Public testimony. We have 3 people signed up. First, Joan Brenna.
You have a good voice.
I think this is, or John or Joan, or?
You don't think fixed.
They here? Well, I'll move on to the next person and see if they come. AJ Capano? You come up, name and address for the record, please.
AJ Capano, for the purposes of my appearance here tonight, my address is 39 Norman Street in Salem, Massachusetts. Good evening, honorable council members, Madam Clerk, members of the gallery. My name is AJ Capano. I'm here with my colleague Gray Rifkin, the Executive Vice President of Common Ground Enterprises. And we're here to speak in support of a petition to rename Holyoke Square as Common Ground Square. Common Ground Enterprises has been a member of the Salem community since 2011. Since our arrival in 2011, we've brought over 100 jobs to the Salem area and its residents in the cutting-edge life sciences industry. The innovations that we're working on over at Norman Street have been recognized nationally and internationally by the medical community. Furthermore, we've taken substantial efforts since taking ownership of the building in October of 2016 to renovate the interior and beautify the exterior. Our overall vision for the area is to create a community welcoming and really attractive block in obviously a very important part of the downtown area. Holyoke Square was renamed in 1975 for the Holyoke Mutual Insurance Company, which, as the petition will explain, was the previous owner, and since October we've been the new owners. In our research on this petition, we uncovered a historical reference to Dr. Edward Augustus Holyoke, one of Salem's most dedicated physicians who practiced in the 18th century. Dr. Holyoke life spanned over 100 years, and he was actually the first recipient of an MD from Harvard Medical School. So obviously we have a great respect for him and the historical contributions that he's made and his importance to the community of Salem. Dr. Holyoke's dedication to patients and to the advancement of medical art is being honored every day through the work that we are doing over at Common Ground Enterprises. And like Dr. Holyoke, we also have an interest in our hometown of Salem. Therefore, Common Ground, as part of the petition tonight, and if the council would entertain it, we would be able to plan and dedicate a good portion in the back and the rear garden, where we have a beautiful garden planned, and we would dedicate a placard that would tell Dr. Holyoke's story in a way that is not being accomplished now with the current just street sign. We really feel that Dr. Holyoke deserves the recognition, and we think that the placard in the garden would allow the community to involve itself with that history, more of an active storytelling than it might be perceived now. I thank you for your time this evening, and I look forward to working closely with this body in the future to continue and enlarge our contributions to the Salem community. Thank you.
Thank you. Has Joan arrived? Is Joan here? She's not here. So we'll skip to, pardon? Meg Toohey is our person. We are on. Name and address for the record.
My name is Meg Toohey, 122 Federal Street. I'm here to talk about your favorite subject, Web and Universal. And in some sense, this may be a little bit of a Hail Mary pass, but let's see how I do. I want to talk first about the revote on the second vote for B4. I think you know that this is opposed by many neighbors and abutting the site and by many people across the site. B4 is not the right zoning designation for our neighborhood and for Bridge Street. The reasons that we cited in our letter that was signed by 65 people to you and the planning board was that the wholesale in combination with the retail is not allowed in B4 zoning, so you're going to have to make a change in any event. There's a strong likelihood of a challenge, which could likely mean considerable delays. And for us, on the Bridge Street corridor, which was zoned NRCC but 10 years ago, it sets a very dangerous precedent for the other parcels that may come available on the corridor. So I want to ask once again that you consider the importance of the decision that you're making tonight on that. I'd also like to speak, if I could, to the memorandum of sale agreement and the deed restriction, which I have to apologize, I only received it today. I was unable to attend the meeting last night. I had asked for it earlier. So I hope my comments are intelligent, but it is, I believe, the version before you. There are several issues I'd like you to consider, even though I understand the Committee of the Whole voted overwhelmingly for it. First is that the agreement is not explicit in saying that it ties the current Webb property and the Universal Steel property, which they would acquire together, although it is explicit in saying that once the sale is complete, they will be considered one property. So I think it would be helpful to address that. And I would recommend that it could be readily addressed by adding for both parcels in the document as suggested in the email I sent you earlier today. I'm very concerned that the deed restriction implies that the 5-story building on the website may not be retained in the new development. The language in the agreement says that it would be that the amendment to allow for other uses on the top floor, I'm sorry, I'm having trouble reading my gray writing. You all had voted for other uses on the top floors of the building. And yet, and which Webb wasn't particularly interested in, but consider the fact that the language of the deed restriction says servicing the building erected on the adjacent parcel, and that we are talking about there on the Webb parcel. So we are very concerned that the 5-story building, which is historic, when you pass B4 with a deed which will not have effect for 1 year because of the tax issue, the repayment issues to Mass Development, we're very concerned that Webb will have the ability for 1 year, they will have this property as B4, be able to tear down that building and erect their normal standard Webb building. I don't believe that that was something that, in listening to all of you pretty carefully, you contemplated. So I'd like to ask you to consider that and also consider whether there's a way to add protection for that building in this agreement. Because as you know, there's no protection except a 6-month demo delay. which they could apply for the day after you vote. I think that the last thing that I'd like to say is that I just want to reiterate the fact that you're being asked to vote on the final B4 zoning with a deed and a deed restriction that do not have any effect until likely November 14th of 2017. That is a very serious matter, and I think you should consider whether you would allow that or would at least tie the sale and the deed restrictions so that Webb cannot do things with that parcel which you were not contemplating when you have gone forward with the B4 vote in the past. Thank you very much for your consideration.
Thank you. Any points of personal privilege before I move forward? Okay. Hearings, none. Appointments and reappointments.
Held from the last meeting, the mayor's appointment of Matthew O. Smith, 12 Northeast Street, to serve as the City of Salem's Traffic and Parking Executive Director for a 2-year term to commence on November 14, 2016, and to expire on January 31st, 2019.
Councilor Fumiko.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for confirmation by roll call vote.
Councilor Fumiko moves for confirmation by roll call vote. Under discussion.
Yes, so Mr. Smith currently works as part of our Salem Redevelopment Authority, and now he is going into this role for us. I know, speaking as myself, and I'm guessing as many of my colleagues as well, we are thrilled to finally have somebody in this role. It's been quite a bit of a wait. While it is the Parking and Traffic Director, I like to think of it more parking and transportation. Looking back, I wish we had made that little change when we did the ordinance to make it transportation versus the traffic part. Matt, though, I think will be an excellent asset for this role. He has background in both public and private planning initiatives, background in urban planning, but also looking at parking when you're doing development. In the past, he's worked through Mass Area Planning Council, and he works on connecting places, land use, and then the impacts that has on the economy, whether that's for residents or for the business community as well. Although Matt does live in Salem, I do know that he and his husband and their 2 boys often walk from place to place in Salem, and that is a really strong suit to have. So we're looking at things from somebody that's going by car, but also someone that knows how things are for pedestrian access in this process. I'm thrilled that Matt is joining us in this role, and I know I already have a few things I'd like him to look at, and I know a lot of our neighborhoods across the city will be grabbing him very shortly. But I thank him for applying for this role and look forward to working with him in this capacity.
Any further discussion? Councilor Gerard.
Thank you, Mr. President. I too want to speak in strong support of Matt for our Traffic and Parking Director. I've known Matt and his husband Phil for a number of years now, and we couldn't have lucked out with a more perfect person for this role, and I know that we are the ones who are so lucky to have him, and I hope he stays forever.
Forever is an awful long time. Councilor Fury.
Mr. President, I too echo Councilor Gerard and Councilor Fumiko, how lucky we are and blessed we are to have Matt take on this duty. Long overdue. We need something like this to make parking very professional. And your background is outstanding. I serve as the council liaison to the Salem Renewal Authority. Exciting things are happening. You make your imprint on that board throughout the city of Salem. It's exciting. So thank you very much for being a part of us. Thank you.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, Madam City Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Counselor Dibble?
Yes.
Counselor Epley?
Yes.
Counselor Fumiko?
Yes.
Counselor Fury?
Yes.
Counselor Gerard?
Yes.
Counselor Lovely?
Yes.
Counselor McCarthy?
Yes.
Counselor Milo?
Yes.
Counselor Ryan?
Yes.
Counselor Sargent?
Yes.
Counselor Terrio?
Yes. On the matter of the appointment of Matthew Smith as Traffic and Parking Director, 11 councilors present, 11 voting, all in the affirmative, none in the negative. The matter carries. Councilor Fumiko.
Yes, I move for a suspension of the rules to allow Mr. Smith to address the council in the chambers if he chooses to do so.
Councilor Fumiko moves for suspension of the rules. Seeing no objection, Mr. Smith.
Great. Well, first, thank you for the kind words. That was really wonderful to hear. And also, I'm just really excited to be able to serve and work for the city I live in, but I can walk to work every day, which is pretty amazing. But I really look forward to working with all of you. And yeah, thanks again. Looking forward to it.
Thank you. Councilor Famico.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move to take out of order, I don't know if somebody could fill me in with a page.
13.
Page 13, the second item.
Seeing no objection? Councilor Fury?
Please. Thank you. Councilor Turiel.
Thank you, Mr. President. City of Salem City Council, November 17, 2016. The Committee of the Whole, to whom was referred the matter of disposition and deed restriction of a city-owned parcel located at 297 Bridge Street, has considered said matter and would recommend approval with the deed of restrictions as amended. And I will, actually, before I go, we've read the initial order. I'd ask to waive the reading on that.
So moved.
Thank you. Councilor Famico was going to move an amendment on it, and you could read that.
Thank you, Mr. President. So we have an amendment, proposed amendment by Councilor Lovely. So the amendment for
It's
this,
the 4 first, because we have to add that one. That's,
okay, 4 was already approved last night.
we didn't approve 4 last night. That was the one that
Okay.
Councilor Sargent.
So further amendment, number 4. Upon the execution of a deed conveying the lot at 297 Bridge Street, each abutter of 297 Bridge Street shall receive a copy of the deed by certified mail, so they are informed of their beneficial interest in the deed as a result of the 50-year restriction.
Second. And discussion?
This was added after last evening to make sure that all the abutters have a know of what's going on, and we decided to do it by certified mail so that both the resident and us actually know it was received versus sometimes things get lost.
Councilor Turiel.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would accept that as a friendly amendment. Section 4, Councilor Sargent brought that concern up last night in Committee of the Whole, and I thought that was, that was a good way of adding a little further strength to this. So I would accept that.
Thank you. We don't need to vote on that, do we?
If I accept it as a friendly amendment, I
It's a friendly amendment. Thank you. Councilor Lovely.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have a proposed amendment. Upon execution of the deed conveying the lot at 297 Bridge Street, the city shall acquire a $5 million / 5-year environmental insurance policy on the lot in the name of the city of Salem.
Second. Is that seconded? I second. Councilor Epley seconds. Councilor Lovely.
If it would be adopted, I don't really, I think it speaks for itself. I think people have received communication from the city solicitor. I think it makes perfect sense, but I'll yield to the Ward 5 Council President.
I have no problem with this if that's the will of the body. I don't, after reading the legal opinion stuff, I don't think it's absolutely necessary, but I have no problem whatsoever accepting this and having a little bit of extra insurance, well, actual insurance on that matter. So I can accept that amendment as well.
Thank you very much. Further discussion?
Thank you, Mr. President. So this is the result of, as now amended, this is the result of last night's Committee of the Whole hearing, where the language that we had asked for in our previous committee meeting was added to this by the city solicitor. There was also added to this by Councilor Famico last night, and we adopted that at the meeting. The other amendment, number 4 on the order, was not adopted last night because the city solicitor had to work out the exact language. But this was added to it on page 6. It would be executed by any amendment would be executed by both the seller would be the city, after a 2/3 vote of the city council authorizing any cancellation, modification, or amendment. So we added, so should there be any desire to change this after the fact during this 50-year term on any circumstance, the city council will have to approve this by a supermajority vote at such point. That's also attached to the deed as amended. So, but I do think that the city council, in the several meetings we had on this since this was first put to us. I think we did a very good job of working with the city solicitor, listening to the concerns, the very legitimate concerns that the neighbors have had, and listening concerns that although we have members who are in opposition, they still work to try and make this document as strong as possible and to give the city and the and the neighbors as much protection as possible. So it proves that we, even if we have differences on an issue, we can all still work together to try and get something done. I think that's an example that, frankly, should be followed at a national level, especially this coming year. But, all that said, so this is to move forward with the restrictions as amended to this, and the deed and the conveyance of sale based on the Webb being the bidder, the successful bidder of it. And, I believe that it's time for us to adopt this and move forward. So I would move for approval.
Do we have a second for approval? Do we need a second for approval?
Most of the committee reports.
So on the committee's report, all those in favor, just on the committee's report?
Well, we have to accept the committee report
To
first.
accept the committee's report? Excuse me? Councilor Dibble.
Just accept the report first.
Yeah.
On acceptance of the committee's report last night. That's what we're acting on tonight, now. All in favor?
And then the adoption.
Yeah. All in favor.
So moved? Councilor
On
Turiel.
adoption of recommendation.
On the adoption of the committee's recommendation, Councilor Dibble.
Comment? Thank you, Mr.
Councilor Dibble.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have never seen a deed restriction quite like this that really puts together the protection for the neighborhood. But we heard testimony tonight from Ms. Toomey on a couple of matters, and I'm wondering if we can suspend the rules to allow our city solicitor to address some of these concerns that she just spoke on, specifically protecting the existing building from demolition within that one-year period and the merging of the two lots and protecting the universal lot from going forward as just before, if in case it's not merged together. So I'm wondering if we can have the city solicitor address these, please.
Do I hear any objections from the city council to allow us to have the city solicitor speak? City solicitor, Beth Bernard?
With respect to the deed restriction and the word erected, we could certainly modify that word. I drafted this, it wasn't my intent to make it appear that there would be some new building on the site. So I don't believe there would be any problem. I would suggest we could amend that to basically state that servicing the existing building, rather than having it say the building erected on the site. So I think that might solve that problem.
Could, Mr. President?
Councilor Turiel?
To the city solicitor, could I suggest that we just add the word currently?
Absolutely.
To amend it to add the building currently erected on that site, and that would take that, that would address that.
So with respect to the time delay, it's Webb's position that they did not want to move forward with the project, the extensive permitting that we're going to have to go through with the DRB and the planning board if this property was not in fact rezoned for the. It's never been their intent, as far as I know, to make any change to that 5-story building. At a significant expense, I think. I don't believe that they will move forward on construction plans and spend all that money on design without the zoning taking place.
Councilor McCarthy?
Thank you, Mr. President. Through you to the city solicitor as well, to follow up on this question. I mean, the sale doesn't become final until they get all their permits in place, right?
Yes, right.
So it's basically, until they get fully permitted, the sale's not final. So therefore, it's not like all this is just basically mute until they get all their permits, and then, but this is just so but this body's intent is the fact that we're gonna move forward with this as soon as they get all permitted, because they don't want to go through the whole process and then come back and expend all that money and energy in order to get this to a point where they can put a shovel in the ground, and they can't do it because after the fact, someone's going to say, well, you should have done this. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Turiel?
Thank you, Mr. President. I would move that we add the word in the first paragraph of Exhibit A. We, on the last line of that, we between the words building and erected, we add the word currently.
Second.
Here, second, Councilor Epley seconds. Do I have any discussion? All in favor of adding the word current? Hearing no opposition, unanimous.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Councilor Choyo.
So, unless there is any further discussion warranted, I would move for adoption of the recommendation as amended.
Councilor Ryan.
I just have a question as far, Council Lovely brought in the insurance policy, I just had to go find the email. So I just want to get that, it's a $5 million, 5-year policy with a $50,000 deductible, a one-time premium of $30,000. It's only good for 5 years, so we're figuring because of the construction, if they find something, that's, after that, we'll be fine.
Councilor Lovely.
My concern is that Webb isn't buying it, the company Webb, who has, they're a very substantial company with deep pockets, so to speak. They're going to sell it to an LLC. So if an LLC, you're familiar with real estate,
Yes.
There's going to be no liability. So they'll have the ability to walk away. I think it's a very small price to pay in case something occurs. It is anything that happens over there, $50,000 is going to be the small amount. But the issue regarding the opinion, it's not an opinion by which you can go back at the attorney and say, you gave us an opinion, you were wrong. Not only that, but the cost of litigation, if we had to go forward, is going to be in excess of that. And I see Councilor Epley, Attorney Epley nodding his head. So I think it's several people on the council are in the insurance business, so maybe they can shed a little more light on it.
Councilor Ryan.
Yeah, I have no problem. When you said that, I was thinking the first 5 years, when everything's getting dug up, like down here where they're finding more contamination, we still own the property. It is worth it, I guess. But when I first looked at that, it was a big number, but it makes sense now because if they do find something, we still own it. We have $5 million to fix it. So, okay, I don't have a problem.
Councilor Dibble, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Clearly, this policy is not going to be purchased until if and when the property is actually sold. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Yes.
Thank you.
Hearing no further discussion? Councilor Sargent.
On the sale, right? Not on the amendments?
Councilor Sargent, please stand.
Oh, thank you, Mr. President. I'm not in favor of the sale, of course. I won't get into the reasons for the zoning change and all those other things that we went over before. But as far as the sale, I never considered this surplus property. I felt like the city needed it to grow in the future, especially our tourist industry. And I think we're going to see when the courthouse is all done that we're going to wish we had this for parking. So I'll be voting against the sale. I do appreciate all the work that was done on the deed restriction to protect the neighborhood, though. So thank you very much, and I would ask for a roll call vote, please.
Show of hands.
Show of hands for a roll call vote on the issue.
I just have one
Councilor Ryan, please.
About the insurance to the city solicitor, I mean, wouldn't we buy this policy before we sold it? Because what if they do some digging? Or actually, they're not going to do any construction until they own it, okay. All right, that's fine. That's why I was just worried if they were doing digging and found something and we...
Councilor Girard.
Thank you, Mr. President. I don't mean to belabor the point, but to Beth, if this was any other property, if this was any other sale, similar situation, we would still be buying this insurance. Is that correct? This policy?
If we were going to be selling the property and someone else was going to be digging in the soil,
Yeah. We would.
we would look to the same.
Okay, thank you.
So the request has been for a roll call vote. Madam City Clerk, may we have a roll call vote on the issue?
As amended.
As amended.
As amended.
Councilor Dibble?
Yes.
Councilor Epley?
Yes.
Excuse me.
Councilor-
Do you want a clarification?
Go ahead.
Just to clarify, so this is just for the deed and the restrictions right now, and page 6 is the actual sale, correct?
We're on page 13.
Yes, I know one page, just clarifying.
Just to be disposition refers to sale. That's what our meeting last night was on, disposition and death.
The sale agreement itself,
This is the terms for the dispute.
these are the terms of the sale, the actual sale is on page 6, the authorization.
That's correct.
If this said, excuse me, if this said,
Councilor Sargent.
thank you, Mr. President. If this said, didn't say disposition, if it just said it's on the deed restrictions, I could agree with that. But disposition is in there, last
Actual
night.
memorandum of sale is on
Right. But this, voting for this is voting for disposition, which is sale. You can't, I mean, you can't get around that. Last night, we had a meeting on disposition deed, and we talked just about the deed restrictions. I voted for them, and today it was reported that we voted for the sale. So, but let's just make sure we get the, if you want to cross out disposition, I'll vote yes for the deed restrictions. But with disposition in there, that's sale. I'd have to vote against the sale.
Councilor Epley, please.
Just point of clarification to the president. Am I correct that, actually, this is more of a question to our city solicitor, and said, Mr. President. Madam City Solicitor, on page 6, we have the actual order authorizing the mayor to put the auction that just took place. Is that correct?
I don't have it. There were two separate orders, one that had been in committee for quite some time, and one that was recently submitted.
This is the order that's been for a while. Just what it should be.
Is this number 6? Yes. So the one on page 13 was the order that was brought back in October relative to, for me to prepare the deed restriction for no bill for 50 years. So they have it on the agenda twice. One for the document that was prepared, and then what I did for the last, for this meeting, is to put them all together. One is authorization to sale, the other one is the, to prepare the deed, to authorize the mayor to sign the deed, to send the notices out to one mail.
Is it fair to say, Madam City Solicitor, that this really is a two-step process? And that we need, so if I may then, to answer Councilor Sargent's question, this is a two-part process to authorize the sale.
We're in the midst of a roll call. Yes, please.
So this would be, what we're voting on now is the terms of the disposition. The actual disposition itself would be the subsequent votes on page 6 once we return to our regular order.
It doesn't say terms of disposition.
As requested by Councilor Flamenco, we are in the midst of a roll call, aren't we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We should continue that roll call.
So,
We have to be clear.
We had a meeting last night,
Counselor,
Councilor Chorio. I think we're in the midst of a roll call. I think we should go through.
We've had to clarify
Okay.
the issue, so if we can, okay. I would ask that we continue the roll call vote.
I believe we should continue. Councilor, Madam City Clerk?
Are we voting on terms of disposition and
Yes.
deed restriction?
Yes.
So it's terms of disposition.
So amended. Add the word terms, if that will make everyone clarify what, I mean, we all know what we're voting on, we're just arguing over a word.
Thank you.
Pretty important word.
Well, it's,
Want to restart
go
the
to
vote?
intent.
Yes.
Maybe we restart the vote.
Yes, we're going to
Resume the vote or start the vote?
restart.
Start from the.
Restart the vote, so we go, restart the vote to,
Yeah, oh, no, I
Madam City Clerk, thank you for your patience.
You're not sure. I don't mean it that way.
Thank you.
So it's for terms of disposition and deed restriction of 297 Bridge
City-owned
Street
property,
as amended. Okay,
And I have it all here.
okay. Counselor Dibble?
Yes.
Counselor Epley?
Yes.
Counselor Famico?
Yes.
Counselor Fury?
Yes.
Counselor Gerard?
Yes.
Counselor Lovely?
No.
Counselor McCarthy?
Yes.
Counselor Milo?
Yes.
Counselor Ryan?
Yes.
Counselor Sargent?
No.
Counselor Terrio?
Yes.
Thank you. 11 members present, 9 members voting yes, 2 members voting nay. The motion passes. Request for reconsideration. Councilor Terrio.
Move for immediate reconsideration. The hope will not prevail.
All those in favor? All those opposed? Opposed? So moved.
There you go.
Thank you.
Councilor Famico.
Thank you. Can I move out of order to page 18 so we can do the second vote relative to this property and kind of go through and get everything relative to this item squared away? The first
18 or 6?
First is page 18. It's the second and final vote for the B4 zoning.
Seeing no
Second and
objections?
third final vote.
Seeing no objections, unfinished business.
We have second passage of an ordinance amending the zoning map for the parcel located at 293 Bridge Street from NRCC to B4 and 297 Bridge Street from R2 to B4.
Councilor Famico.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for adoption for second and final passage.
For the third time.
We have to, under discussion.
Under discussion.
So, as folks who follow us know, we actually have taken the second vote on this. Unfortunately, the advertisement that is required by law did not get put into the newspaper or online. So we are taking a second vote again. So this is actually our third second vote. This is just to finalize it all, and it is advertised correctly this time.
Any further discussion?
Second vote, there we go.
Councilor Dibble.
Thank you, Mr. President. This has been an interesting first year for me. We started back in January, February with this matter, and here we are at the end of the year. And all along the way, I've learned quite a bit. It's been an interesting process, but I just want to let the full council know in the audience, I'm disappointed at this point. All along the way, we talked about doing what's right for the neighbors and trying to keep Webb here in Salem and increasing or retaining our commercial tax roll. And I drew up a compromise plan and met with Webb back in the end of February on something that I thought would work and preserve the soils from being disturbed below the ground, to preserve Beckford Way, to not have to have a TIF, the tax break, and to really protect the neighborhood. I thought it was a good plan that worked for everybody. I thought it could work for Webb, and it wouldn't be Webb's perfect model, but it would be something better for the neighborhood. And B4 was accepted for the universal lot and the alpha lot to make the whole thing all happen. And then things changed, and they wound up going with the compromise plan. And we still needed to make universal lot B4 because of the parking lot and on is not allowed, and to make the existing Webb building B4. But then other issues popped up, fish processing and automotive and on and on and on. But then we crafted through our solicitor an excellent amendment to protect the neighbors and to protect the property and to protect the soils and on and on. So it was a good, again, I stated earlier, I've never seen a deed restriction quite like this before. I don't think anybody in this room has ever seen one like this, including all the lawyers that might be here in the room. But now I'm hearing rumors of appeal, and this is the matter that the neighbors might appeal, is the B4 vote. It's not on these other matters right now. And I want to make it clear that everything along the way that I've worked with the neighbors on, and at the parking lot, in the neighborhood, at somebody's house, all the issues were addressed along the way. I think Webb has done what we've asked all the way along the way. It took them a while to get there, thankfully, with all the neighbors speaking out over and over and over again on a lot of different issues. I wish Mr. Jennings was here because of his environmental expertise. We learned a lot more about the possible soil contamination below. But to have it appealed now, after Webb has done everything that we've asked him to do, both the neighbors and the council, I'm disappointed. So I guess I'm, through the president here, and through this board, through this council, I'm respectfully asking the neighbors to reconsider what they're about to do. I don't think it's fair. I don't think it's right. I think we're getting a good project at the end of the day that kind of meets everyone's discussion points all the way along the line. It protects the neighborhood. That wonderful crafted amendment really protects the neighbors. The soils are going to be left in place. We could have lawyers up on the 3rd, 4th, and 5th floor now. Webb can stay. The tax bill on their property hopefully will increase significantly. I think it's a good project all the way around. I think the neighbors brought it to a great end of the day. but now we're going to appeal. So again, I respectfully ask that they reconsider.
Councilor Fury?
I totally
Councilor
agree. We have to come to common ground. I totally agree, Councilor Dibble. We have to come to a common ground. And naming that new building that we talked about earlier in the meeting, Holyoke Square, common ground is very critical to come to. I don't think we can satisfy some of these people in this room or in that neighborhood. 65 people have signed another petition saying they disagreed. When you look at the overall city, I'm a council at large, representing the whole city, I hear very little support for that small group of 65 that's saying we have to delay and defer. I don't know how they can sleep at nighttime. For the sake of their city, threatening this city, threatening the very discourse that we've done from day one, from January to now to November. City Solicitor Bernard had a birthday last night. I had my birthday last night. We have to sacrifice for so much for this group, meeting after meeting after meeting. And it's disappointing. They have come to this point saying, we're going to go appeal. We have a well-established business. FW Webb is well-respected throughout the city of Salem. I have not heard one word going throughout the city of Salem in the 9 months of discussion about the integrity of that company. To have them even threaten this city, threaten this board, that we're going to go on to appeal. That sends a strong message, a negative message. It's very similar to what's happening on the national level. Acrimony at the worst level. And I'm disgusted that even, I don't know how they can sleep at nighttime. Saying, you can never satisfy those people, sincerely. As much as you have stood up and compromised, and you went through it just a couple minutes ago, I don't think you can satisfy them. So I strongly agree with you. We have to vote, come to common ground. For the sake of this city, the city of peace, come to peace. And this neighborhood is giving us, unlike any other neighborhood, on a business. And we thrive on businesses. I've lived next to business. We've lived next to businesses. I'm disappointed. I'm angry. I'm totally disgusted by this neighborhood. A small group. I don't think it represents the whole neighborhood. I don't think it represents that precinct. I don't think it represents that ward. There's 65 negative people that we can't please. Never will.
Happy birthday, Councilor Fury. Councilor Epley.
Are we going to vote the zoning change, or are we going to trash the neighborhood?
Well, this is under discussion. The councilors chooses to make ones who wish to discuss.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to echo Councilor Dibble's comments that it is, I don't think any, perhaps except for the Ward 2 councilor, I don't know that any other councilor has worked hard in talking to the neighbors and that are affected and in crafting a compromise. And one of the things that happens in compromise is that each side gives up something. You get what you want, and you also give up something along the way. And I have to say that the 65 or so folks who fought very diligently, and I'm a big believer in fighting for a cause. There's no doubt about that. But they fought hard, and with the help of Councilor Dibble as well as Councilor Famico and this body, there's been a really big push that Webb accommodated. The one thing that under the law they need to ask for is zoning and the B4, and so that's what they asked for. And that's the one thing that some of the neighbors, the 65 neighbors, have a problem with. When you compromise, you have to give something up. And there hasn't been anything given up by those 65 neighbors, especially with all of the deed restrictions that we've added in. There's been no project in Salem in its 300-plus year history that has had this precise of a deed restriction. And the fact that Webb is still standing here willing to conduct business in the city of Salem is a testament to their commitment. And I don't want to prejudge anything on another discussion that's going to come up, but they never asked for Beckford Way to become Webb Way. They were interested in doing what was right for the overall community and for their business and so forth. So I want to commend the Ward 7 councilor, and I can't agree with him enough.
Councilor Famico.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just wanted to apologize for some of the comments that were just made. When we speak about a neighborhood, it's not, there might be some that have feelings against or not be happy with some of the things that were said, but we shouldn't be basing it on an entire neighborhood. There are a lot of good folks and there are a lot of passionate people on both sides of this issue. So while we might not agree for everything, people are still entitled to their opinions and their beliefs for this. So I'm apologizing that it got to that point just now. I would like to move the question though, so we can get the second vote in.
So Councilor Famico's moved the question.
I would like to speak, please.
Briefly, Councilor.
And I won't belabor it. You know, a deed restriction's restrictive, of course, but it can be undone by the parties that enter into it. We can undo it just as we just undid their zoning. So I don't think the neighbors are going to put that much faith in the deed restriction, because we voted against them on the zoning change, and we can vote against them to change the deed again. Anywhere down the road, a certain amount of city councilors vote in favor, and the deed restrictions can change. So it's not unfair for a neighborhood to stick up for themselves, to stick up for their property values. We changed the location of their neighborhood from being next to an R2 residential zone to being next to a B4 zone. That affects potentially their quality of life. Somewhere down the future, 50 years comes fast, it affects their ability to possibly have their children live in their house because the circumstances may change after 50 years. These are passionate things. Doesn't mean they're bad people. We don't all agree with each other's votes, but we don't villainize each other because of those votes. We do it. So I ask that we not villainize the neighborhood for exercising their legal rights to appeal. We have a right through Board of Appeals, Planning Board, City Council to make changes. The citizens have a right to object to those changes and doing it in a legal way. They're not marching in the street, rioting, anything like that. They're consulting their legal, representatives, and they're doing it through the process. In a way, we should commend that. They're doing it, everything's being done civilly. So, thank you.
Councilor Lovely?
Yeah, just briefly, the neighborhood's concern is with the B4. As I've told anybody who'd listen, anybody who's willing to sit down and talk, we met with the planning board, made a change, recommended for zoning change. We could have done the same thing by amending the NRCC and accomplished the same goal, but they would have those protections that a B4 doesn't afford them. That's all they were asking. This body and the administration decided not to do that, but that's why they're upset. We could have accomplished the same thing by amending NRCC just as easily. I'll tell you that they're going to be going to the Board of Appeals for variances, no doubt about it. And maybe I'll be proved wrong, but I don't believe so. That's why they may appeal, because there are some uses that aren't compatible, that are allowed in B4, that they're concerned about. Maybe they won't happen, but we could have amended the NRCC to allow that use just as easily as we've turned this to B4. That's why they're upset. Thank you.
On the question of second and final passage on the exact language. On the question of second passage of the ordinance amending the zoning map for the parcel located 293 Bridge Street from NRCC to B4 and 297 Bridge Street from R2 to B4. Madam City Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Counselor Dibble?
Yes.
Counselor Epley?
Yes.
Counselor Famico?
Yes.
Counselor Fury?
Yes.
Counselor Gerard?
Yes.
Counselor Lovely?
No.
Counselor McCarthy?
Yes.
Counselor Milo?
Yes.
Counselor Ryan?
Yes.
Counselor Sargent?
No.
Counselor Turiel?
Yes. On the matter of second passage of the zoning of 293 Bridge Street from NRCC to B4 and 297 Bridge Street from R2 to B4, 11 councilors present, 11 voting, 9 in the affirmative, 2 in the negative. The matter carries. Councilor Famico.
Move for immediate reconsideration in hopes that it does not prevail.
Councilor Famico moves for immediate reconsideration. The hope is to not prevail. All those in favor? Opposed? Opposed. Matter does not carry.
Mr. President, can I move to page 6 to finalize all this stuff?
Councilor Famico moves that we go out of order to page 6, second item. Seeing no objection. Communication from the mayor.
We have an order to authorize the mayor to execute a memorandum of sale between the City of Salem and FW Web Company for the purchase of city property described as Lot 1, a 52,491 square foot portion of subdivided lot at 297 Bridge Street for a purchase price of $498,550.
Counselor Famico.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for adoption by roll call vote.
This is as amended by the committee.
As amended by
committee of the
our
whole.
earlier committee report.
Counselor Famico moves for adoption by roll call vote. Under discussion.
Yes, just to note, this is the Lot 1. I know during all of our hearings, we had been hearing about that other sliver behind that. That's currently not included in this, and at a later point may go up for sale at that point, but that's just the front lot, not including that or the Beckford Public Way. And thanks to the city solicitor for all of her work that she put into the agreement and everything else surrounding it.
Yes, and just to note, this is what contains the sections 4 and 5 as we adopted the amended language in the committee report. So this is for the actual approval of the order of the communication, of this communication. So any further discussion? Seeing none, Madam City Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Counselor Dibble?
Yes.
Counselor Epley?
Yes.
Counselor Famico?
Yes.
Counselor Fury?
Yes.
Counselor Gerard?
Yes.
Counselor Lovely?
No.
Counselor McCarthy?
Yes.
Counselor Milo?
Yes.
Counselor Ryan?
Yes.
Counselor Sargent?
No.
Counselor Terrio?
Yes. On the order to adopt as amended the memorandum of sale to the, to authorize the mayor to execute the amended memorandum of sale between the City of Salem and FW Web Company for the purchase of city property described as Lot 1, a 52,491 square foot portion of subdivided lot at 297 Bridge Street for a purchase price of $498,550. 11 councilors present, 11 voting, 9 in the affirmative, 2 in the negative. The matter carries. Counselor Famico.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like us to return to the regularly scheduled...
Wait, Counselor McCarthy? Hold on.
Thank you, Mr. President. In the interest of moving some, is there an appointment here that hasn't been done?
We did that.
Okay. In the interest of moving some matters from people that are in the room, I move that we move to page 15, petitions.
Okay.
Second.
First, would somebody make the motion for immediate reconsideration?
Move for immediate reconsideration in hopes not prevail on the matter that was previously conducted.
Councilor McCarthy moves for immediate reconsideration in the hopes it will not prevail. All those in favor? Opposed?
Opposed.
Does not carry. So Councilor McCarthy moves that we move to petitions on page, out of order, petition on page 15.
Yes, I'd like to take up the first matter first.
Okay. Seeing no objection, petitions.
Request from Robert Feely, President of Feely McInnesby, Inc., to alter construction hours at 23 Memorial Drive, Bentley Academy, to work on Sundays as necessary to maintain schedule of roof replacement work from November 19, 2016 through December 31st, 2016, before the temperatures fall below 25 degrees.
Councilor McCarthy.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the matter be granted.
Councilor McCarthy moves it be granted. Under discussion.
Under discussion. Tonight, the Buildings and Grounds Director, he was here, has joined us in case there's any questions relative to this matter. I had a conversation with Mr. LaRue earlier today and found out the scope of what is being asked. The Bentley School, Bentley Charter Academy School, is in the process of installing extensive solar panels to be installed on the roof, but in order to do so, the roof itself needs to be, the roof membrane itself needs to be changed out prior to the installation of the solar panels. In doing so, the type of rubber roof that's on that building is a membrane that's laid down and held in place by rocks, basically. It's weighted down, so it's not a direct glue down situation. So in order to remove the rubber, to put the new rubber down, those rocks need to be removed, and the way they've decided to remove them is by vacuum. That's what I said. The vacuum is one of the large regular vac sucker truck styles that you see that would vacuum out like a manhole in the street. They're going to adapt hoses to it to remove the rocks. The Saturday is a work day, according to all building permits that are issued in the city of Salem. So Saturday, they will be conducting this activity. And what they're asking for is the ability, if they do not finish that work on Saturday, to do it on Sunday. It's something I don't like myself. We have enough going on in the neighborhood already that I don't need to add to the plate. But with the nature of the work and the fact that it's a municipal building, and as we just entered into daylight savings time, the days are shorter, the window of opportunity to do the work decreases and decreases, and fortunately, as we move into November, it's the time of year when windows are closed, and hopefully the amount of work that they're doing will minimize impacts. I've asked Mr. LaRue to work with the contractor to ensure that they're going to start on Saturday on the side of the building where the homes are located and move away from that as best they can. I mean, unfortunately, it wasn't until today that I saw the scope of what actually they were requesting. When someone asked me that they're going to do a rubber roof, I typically envision gluing, glue down material and whatnot, and that's why the temperatures be affected. But the first phase that they need to do is the removal of these rocks, and they need to do it in a timely manner to keep things moving forward. And obviously, it's not a process that can be conducted while the kids are in school, so that's why the request is being asked. If anyone has any questions of Mr. LaRue, I would entertain a motion to waive the rules to allow Mr. LaRue to address us. But that's what's being asked, and that's what, on top of that, I've also asked the administration to issue a code red tomorrow, if approved, to let the neighbors know that this will be going on. So with that, I will yield the floor.
Do any members have questions of Mr. LaRue? Councilor Fury?
But just as a comment, how lucky we are to have Mr. LaRue. Mr. LaRue has been through almost every building transformation in the city of Salem for his career, from the high school to the Bentley School. And here we are in the 21st century, Mr. LaRue, God bless. We're doing solar panels. I commend and congratulate you how lucky we are to have you on board, even though we have to do some of this formulation, and you here being tonight, we're very lucky to have you. Keep up the good work, Mr. LaRue. We're lucky to have you.
Any further discussion? Any members? Councilor Formico.
Just to add to that as well, we also have Jeff Ellie in the audience, and I don't know who's next to Jeff, but Jeff is at our planning department and has worked a lot on solar and renewable energy in the city. I don't know who's with you, Jeff.
Well, right. Anybody have any questions for them on this, on the project? Seeing none, on Councilor McCarthy's motion, this be granted. All those in favor? Opposed? So moved. Councilor McCarthy.
Thank you, Mr. President. I further move that we take up the next matter.
Councilor McCarthy also moves that we continue out of order, take up the next matter. Further petitions.
Petition from Craig S. Strasnick, President, Common Ground Enterprise, to rename Holyoke Square to Common Ground Square.
Councilor Formico.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd actually move that we move this to the Committee on Community and Economic Development. I know we've had a lot of discussion about this, and we've heard from a lot of people today as well regarding the renaming. While I do not think there's the appetite in the council, they would allow us that later on if someone chooses to hear it. But I know originally the petitioners were thinking it was primarily due to the past business that was there. As we know, there's also a lot of historical significance to the name as well in the city. With that, I don't personally want to move forward with voting on it tonight, but I wouldn't be against putting it in a committee if later on, or if the petitioner chooses to come back. It gives them an opportunity to meet with us, and maybe out of that discussion we could come up with potentially something else they could do to tie into this in a different way.
Any further discussion? Councilor Sargent.
I'd respectfully ask that we move the question. If they have something else to bring forward, some other idea, let them bring it forward. I mean, just to begin with, we only name our squares after veterans in Salem. You know, over the last, I don't know, over my lifetime anyways. And, you know, to find out that the square, you know, that the Holyoke Insurance and Building was named for this man and not the other way around, I just, you know, with all due respect, I just wish you guys had done your homework. I mean, to say you want to take the naming of a square away from somebody and give them a spot somewhere inside where it can't be seen so much on your property. I don't think it's intentional, but it's a little disrespectful to the history of this man and all that he's done. And we don't name our squares this way. I respectfully ask that we deny this tonight, and if there's any other idea to come forward, let it come forward. Thank you.
Councilor Kearney.
Councilor Chilio, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. I too would ask that this petition be denied. I look at this as I as well as Councilor Milo are both former employees of the Holyoke Insurance Company. I worked there for 5 years. She worked there somewhat longer. The square, the history of that site, Holyoke Insurance is a business, although the business itself is no longer anywhere near what it once was, and really it's a brand name of a larger company nowadays. But the company itself is a heritage that goes back over 170 years at this point. Starting as a mutual fire insurance company for the city, because there already was a Salem mutual insurance company at that point in time, they decided to adopt the name of what they considered to be Salem's greatest, leading citizen of the past. That company did business elsewhere in Salem. They built what is known to former employees and people who were frequent it as the old building, the building that's actually on the corner of Holyoke Square. They built that back in the 1930s. Then when they greatly enlarged their presence by building what is considered to be the new building, only going back to the 70s, at that point in time they also, as part of a tribute to that, the square was renamed in honor of the company and of the citizen. So I would say that the name Holyoke Square is, I really appreciate that we have a new primary tenant in that building and a new owner. I really appreciate the work that they're doing to add jobs to Salem, to add some more modern functions to Salem, and they've really taken the place of what Holyoke did employment-wise and in terms of overall economic impact. But at the same time, I would say that what we have right now in Holyoke Square is a street that honors a company with 170 years worth of roots in this community, and a citizen who accomplished great things in his extraordinary life in the 17th century or in the 18th century. So, I would say, with all due respect to the petitioner, that when they've been in Salem for 170 years, I think we should name a street for them. But until then, I think at that point, I think we should keep the name Holyoke Square. It represents a significant part of our history. So I would ask that this be denied. Thank you.
I withdraw my motion, Mr. President.
So Councilor Fumiko has withdrawn her motion that this be referred to committee. Councilor Epley?
Thank you, Mr. President. I, too, am in opposition to the renaming of the square. And I just want to address the petitioners on this. I'm a big believer in new businesses in Salem, and I wouldn't have supported the TIF that you guys received if I didn't think that you guys wouldn't deliver, because you will deliver and you have delivered. And I'm thrilled that you guys are here. I wouldn't take the same position on, quote unquote, doing your homework. But what I would say is that we're a city that's, as you can tell from the discussion that's already taken place, history is a really, really important part of Salem. It really is. And it's a way of, we have to be both part of the past, the present, and the future. And you guys are definitely the future. There's no doubt about that. But we have to honor folks like Dr. Holyoke. So I'm going to be voting no. And in 170 years, I absolutely will support this, but just not yet. Not yet.
I would comment from the chair that we used to say that Councilor O'Keefe would be around to vote on that in 170 years, and regretfully he's not. So, Councilor Fury.
I'm sitting in Councilor O'Keefe's seat, and I'm going to strongly agree with the petitioner. I think the city of Salem needs to reinvent itself. The legacy and the heritage of the Holyoke name will be continued by this new addition, by this new business. By their petition, they're putting us into the 21st century. They're reinvesting Salem. That's what Salem is all about. It's reinventing itself. McDonald's, Burger King, all these institutions and businesses in Salem. Webb is trying to reinvent itself. Lappin Park, right across the street. Lappin, the Lappin family, with Samantha. Bewitched statue, right there. Would Lappin agree? I think they would. I think Mr. Holyoke would agree. The history and the heritage, the legacy that we have, that we are so proud of in Salem, is being reinvented in the 21st century by this new company coming in on the 21st century level. Exciting. It's bringing a whole new energy into the downtown area. So I strongly in favor of the petition. Thank you.
Counselor, I would note that Mr. Lappin is still alive at this point.
Yes, he is.
So,
he agreed.
any further discussion? Counselor Dibble.
Thank you, Mr. President. I too learned something in this one here. I assumed that Holyoke Square was named after Holyoke Insurance. And it's interesting that it's not. So I'm in the same shoes that you are, petitioners. But I'm wondering if the Ward 2 councilor can entertain taking another look at the street and maybe changing the signs that say reserved for Holyoke Insurance parking only, so that common ground and the general public can park there, and maybe look at the bus stop parking across the way that has been empty every single day since Halloween, and let the general public park there as well. Thank you.
Counselor Famico.
Thank you, Mr. President. Connection with what the good Ward 3 councilor said, that could be something we could relook at with the city solicitor changing the signage. It is part of an ordinance and it's on a deed as well. But I would like to ask for suspension of the rules to allow the petitioner to speak, if that's okay with the council.
Any objection? Seeing none, if the petitioner would like to...
Ward 7.
Thank you, everybody. Councilmember.
If I could ask you to come up to the podium, sorry.
I apologize.
No problem. Thank you.
Good evening again, all council members. I want to reintroduce myself. My name is Gray Rifkin, the Executive Vice President for Common Ground Enterprises. First, I just want to thank you for your consideration and deliberation tonight. I also want to extend the opportunity for all of you, if you haven't yet, to come to Common Ground Enterprises to see the work that we've done on the inside, to meet some of our employees, and to get a sense of the community that we're hoping to build in the future here. And lastly, I just want to say we have no intention of erasing the history behind Salem. I can tell you that long before I was even born, my parents moved to Salem at 60 Federal Street, and they hung out their shingle at their first law firm, Rifkin Law Offices. That building's no longer there. It was taken by eminent domain. We have a brand new Superior Courthouse. It's a beautiful building and a beautiful story. My parents gave up their office. Salem got a new community. It shows that we can be anchored in history and still move on to development and innovation. That's what we're trying to do at Common Ground. We respect all of your consideration, and we understand that if it's potentially premature now, maybe we can get into a committee, we can talk about ways to better our community, talk about ways to better our street and our neighborhood. I think that's an objective that everybody in this room has, so I just wanted to take that opportunity and thank you all very much.
Thank you. So if Councilor Famico's withdrawn her motion, if anybody would like to make a motion on the petition, Councilor Famico.
Motion to deny.
Councilor Famico moves the petition be denied. Any further discussion?
Just for clarification, a yes is to deny, a no is not to deny.
Correct, thank you. On Councilor Famico's motion to deny the petition, all those in favor? Yes. All those opposed? Motion to deny carries. Thank you, gentlemen. Councilor McCarthy.
I move that we return to the regular portion of the meeting.
Councilor McCarthy moves that we return to the regular portion of the meeting. Before we do that, I have a request in. If you recall, during public testimony, we had Joan Brennan had signed up. She came by much later after the fact because she's never done public testimony before. She did not realize that it was all one period at the beginning of the meeting, and she thought the public testimony was when an item came up in the agenda. So if the body is willing to suspend the rules, I would entertain a suspension of the rules to allow her to proceed with her public testimony. Councilor McCarthy.
So moved.
Councilor McCarthy moves to suspend the rules to allow Ms. Brennan to give her public testimony. Any objection? Seeing none? Brennan, thank you. If you could, sorry about the mix-up.
Thank you. I apologize. I have
name and
only
address
been
for the record.
planning board meetings and retail meetings, so I appreciate you guys giving me a second chance. I just want to say that I have to read this because I'm very nervous speaking in public and my mother's watching. Okay. My name is Joan Brennan of Witch Teas in downtown Salem. I want to thank you all for the opportunity to speak in front of you. I have been in business for many years, and I appreciate the opportunity to speak in front of you. This ordinance to ban the retail using disposable bags, I had no idea that this was coming. Most of us in downtown Salem, when this ordinance came, you can express the appreciation that we had Halloween in Salem. So I'm not sure why this is happening, but I'm here to represent the downtown merchants. As you can see, our bags are used for advertising purposes. Mine, Witch Teas, with a smiley face, is because I smile every day, as you should. Okay? We have Trolley Depot, and we have Coons Hallmark. Okay? I'm not sure why this ordinance is happening, but as you can see, our bags are used for advertising purposes. When we are in Salem, we have a very small window of opportunity to sell our product. Tourism is July, August, October, basically. So what I'm asking you is that you would consider possibly making some kind of alternative ordinance for the downtown businesses. This is our advertising. Advertising, people love my yellow bags. This is not a Target bag. This is not a CVS bag. This is a Witch Teas bag. And I'm going to tell you right now, there are Trolley Depots here to represent me. Coons was going to come, but she couldn't. We are the little tiny, tiny businesses in Salem. If you can make some kind of an ordinance for us to just please consider the little tiny, tiny people that when they go home, let me tell you something right now. I have been in Beverly at my house and somebody carries my yellow bag to go down to the depot. They have reused my yellow bags. I'm not sure about Trolley Depot or but that's the whole thing. When they go home, they use my yellow bags. They love me. My tourists come back year after year. So if there's something you guys can do, I know that I don't want to overspeak and I'm not going to give a big speech. Just please consider the little people that could and have made it, because Salem is a city, and most of you went to school with me. We are the witches. All right, thank you. But if you consider the little people.
Thank you. Councilor Gerard?
Thank you, Mr. President. Can I ask that we go out of order and go to page 19 to the last, the second passage, so that we can discuss this very quickly?
Sure, seeing no objection, so moved.
Thank you.
Further unfinished business. You can go back.
Oh, can I go back? Thank you.
Yeah.
Do you read that? Don't you read that?
Yeah, further unfinished business.
Go ahead.
Second passage of an ordinance amending Chapter 14, Section Article 7, disposable plastic bags in retail establishments.
Councilor Gerard.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for adoption for second and final passage, which will be under discussion, and I'll explain.
Councilor Gerard moves for adoption for second and final passage. Under discussion.
Thank you, Mr. President. Actually, we started our meetings back in the summer, actually in May, I believe, and those particular bags of that size, of that thickness, are not part of the ban. There we go.
When I go up to the podium, my mother's watching. Thank you, Beth.
You're so welcome. You are so welcome. I will gladly email you a copy of this. This will not go into effect until January 1st, 2018, to give people plenty of time to adjust to this, but we specifically wanted to use those one, like the really thin point of sale non-reusable bags, the ones that you see blowing around. You don't see Witch Teas, you don't see the Trolley Depot bags blowing around. Those are nice thick bags that can continue to be reused. And and the ordinance, I will gladly email you a copy of the ordinance, and I can even give you my copy here, and you can look it over. So the term disposable plastic shopping bags shall not include reusable bags, produce bags, or product bags.
Thank you.
Understand? So you're good.
My eyes look at
So I would like.
Thank you, Beth. Thank
You're welcome. So I would like to finish this out. I would like to move for second and final passage. And Joni, if you want, I will gladly give you my copy here and you can read it over. And
So on Councillor Gerard's motion for second and final passage, any further discussion? See,
Well, you saved me a beating, so thank you.
seeing none. All those in favor? Opposed? So moved. Councillor Gerard.
thank you, Mr. President. Can we go back to our regularly scheduled agenda?
That was at page 5.
To
Councillor
page
Gerard moves that we return to our
5.
regular order.
Thank you, Beth. Mom, you'll be proud of me.
Page 5. Communications from the mayor.
We have an order pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 79. The city solicitor shall prepare and submit to council all necessary documents for the taking by eminent domain for the city, the property located at 289 Derby Street.
Councilor McCarthy.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that this matter be referred to the Committee on Administration and Finance, co-posted with the Committee of the Whole.
Councilor McCarthy moves this be moved to the Committee on Administration and Finance, co-posted with the Committee of the Whole. Under discussion.
Thank you, Mr. President. We've had a couple meetings and discussions relative to this lot. There has been some questions in this body and committee whether or not the idea of taking this property, of purchasing this property using CPA funds is the best avenue. So where that matter hasn't been decided, we're actually waiting for some information back from the company that's doing the work relative to the if there's any contamination on the site. They're doing some underground radar stuff. They're doing some different, they're going through the records when the gas station was there and whatnot. So at that point during committee, the question was raised, if we're not going to use CPA funds, then maybe we would entertain the idea of using regular city dollars and bond for it regularly. So the question became, which way did we want to go? So in the discussions with the mayor and committee, we spoke to her and we asked her, her suggestion was that she'd bring in these orders that would duplicate what's already in there relative to CPA, so that if we decide not to go to CPA and we prefer to go this way, that the matter would be in front of us so we can take it up in committee prior to our meeting in December.
Any further discussion? Councilor Dibble.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to propose a friendly amendment to this, if I may, that we request the mayor to address the concerns listed in the Salem Chamber of Commerce email that we all received some time ago, and that she addressed the concerns raised by the good Ward 3 councilor in his 3-page document that he handed out. And lastly, and by the way, previously I requested those of the mayor, and she sent, about 2 or 3 hours later, she sent an email out to all of us addressing 2 or 3 of those concerns that I had listed and saying that the remainder will be addressed later. I haven't seen them yet, but I know she's working on them. Lastly, I'd like to ask her for a comparison, if you would, of the possible lost revenue and taxes from a comparison, for a 20-year comparison between if the property is left as a private parking lot, how much taxes would we lose? And then 2, if the parcel was developed as originally proposed 10 or 12 years ago to some 37 condominiums with commercial level on the first floor, what type of taxes would we lose over the next 20 years so that we can have all the information and make an intelligent choice and weigh the difference between letting this property be developed and losing that tax revenue, and then taking a good look at it being a park and all those benefits that come with that as well, and expanding into the South River. So I'm not ready to vote on this, and I'm asking for some more. I know we're not voting tonight.
Councilor, just to not to take the wind out of your sails on this, Councilor, but this is the stuff we would be asking of the mayor in that committee meeting once it comes to the committee. So this order is just to take the comparative paperwork to prepare a potential friendly eminent domain taking and a bond accordingly, so that both of these measures could be in the Committee on Administration and Finance co-posted, and at that point, the mayor will have to answer all these various questions, the questions that you have, the questions the chamber has, the questions the Ward 3 councilors brought forward. So it wouldn't be in the form of an amendment to this order, it would just be in what we request of the mayor at that committee meeting, which will take place in several weeks.
Correct, Mr. President. I'm in agreement, but I'm asking for these materials in advance so that we have time to digest it while we're deliberating in committee.
Yeah. I'm saying this would not be in the form of that would not be something that would go into the order. This is just for going into committee. The mayor would have to be asked, we will have to ask the mayor to provide that to us, and I think she's aware that we all want that information in order to proceed, so.
Yeah, I'll follow up with an email to her requesting this in advance then. Thank you.
So, any further discussion? Seeing none, on Councilor McCarthy's motion, this be referred to the Committee on Administration and Finance, co-posted with the Committee of the Whole. All those in favor? All those opposed? So moved. Further communications from the mayor.
We have a bond order for the sum of $1,400,000 to pay costs for the following project eminent domain taking of 289 Derby Street.
Councilor Epley.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that this matter be referred to the Committee on Administration and Finance, co-posted with the Committee of the Whole.
Councilor Epley moves this be referred to the Committee on Administration and Finance, co-posted with the Committee of the Whole. Under discussion.
My Ward 1 colleague summed up a lot of what has already been said, and I'm going to stick with that, and I'm going to stick with that with a slew of other ones that will come up as well.
So,
Thank you very much.
any further discussion? Seeing none, on Councilor Epley's motion, this be referred to the Committee on Administration and Finance, co-posted with the Committee of the Whole. All those in favor? Opposed? So moved. Further communication from the mayor.
We have an order for a donation of 2 non-perishable items or canned goods to be donated to a local food pantry, and the city collector shall waive from December 1st through December 23rd, 2016, up to $30 in late fees for unpaid parking fines, but not waive any surcharge imposed by the RMV.
Councilor Epley.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for adoption.
Councilor Epley moves for adoption. Under discussion.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm doing so technically because I'm the A&F chair, the Administration and Finance chair, but I also am doing this because I probably am the counselor who has the most parking tickets on an annual basis, so it's very appropriate that I should be bringing this motion.
Councilor Rodka.
I don't know if there's something.
Epley moves for adoption. Any further discussion? Councilor Famico.
Further discussion for this. I'd like to tighten up the first line of that, because it says to be donated to a local food pantry. When the people are bringing the cans in, they do come to City Hall, correct? It wouldn't be that they come and give it to the food pantry and just say, oh yeah, I dropped 2 off.
Yes.
That's correct.
Is there a way that we can?
I would accept a friendly amendment that the donation, what I would suggest is that that the order read donation of 2 non-perishable items or canned goods to be donated at the collector's office. To be dropped off at City Hall, yeah.
Do we have a second on that?
Second.
Okay, Councilor McCarthy.
Second, obviously, but this is something that the city has done for a number of years now. It's jokingly called P's for fees or whatever you want to call it. But I want to say 2 years ago, it was almost 2 truckloads we took out of City Hall relative to this. And the one stipulation is one people things have to remember, they only can excuse so much. If you let your parking ticket go long enough and you get fees that are from the registry, we can't waive those. We can only waive the original fee that came to us. So you're still on the hook for whatever other, but it's a nice way that if you do have, admittedly, listen, I would never admit to that in public, but if you do admittedly have lots of parking tickets, that it's a nice way that you can get somebody, you can, contribute to a great cause. Obviously, this time of year coming up on the holidays, to be able to provide, there's a lot of families that will go, that may potentially go hungry during that time, and to provide food for them, the availability for that, it's a great thing, and to recoup some of that money that you've lost on your parking tickets will be a nice way and a nice gesture by the city as well. And plus, it also gets a lot of that stuff paid for, because some people look at the opportunities to make that happen along, so.
I would comment that I've seen Councilor Epley's car around the city many a time, and it's very recognizable, and I was under the impression that his windshield was orange. I do. So any further discussion? Councilor Famico.
One more thing. It does say non-perishable, just as a reminder, that does include mac and cheese, pastas, and things like that as well, so I don't think it has to be a high salt content canned good.
So, Any further discussion? Seeing none, on Councilor Epley's motion for adoption as amended, all those in favor? Opposed? So moved. Further communication from the mayor.
We have a resolution to file and accept grants with and from the Commonwealth of Massachusetts Executive Office of Energy and Environmental Affairs for our Common Backyards program for improvements to McGlue Park.
Councilor Gerard.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for adoption.
Councilor Gerard moves for adoption. Under discussion.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is very exciting for me and for my ward. This is typical with the EOEA, that they ask us to accept grants from them in order to receive the grants. Another time that we have done this as a city is when we received $400,000 from them in, I believe it was under 2015 for Mary Jane Lee. So this is a great opportunity. We're really counting on this money for McGlue Park, that, you know, people can call it the pit for as long as they want, but pretty soon it's not going to look like a pit. So I just stand in strong support of this.
So, Councilor Ryan.
I rise in support since I grew up in that area. I was at McGlue Park when I was about 5 years old. I lived across North Street. My mother wouldn't let us cross North Street, so we used to have to walk the back roads to go to Cabot Farm, which wasn't bad. But McGlue, I never called it the pit. I guess a long time ago they called it the pit. But it was one of the best parks. It's hidden. It's got like a rock trail that goes around. We used to have Park Olympics. There was horseshoes. There used to be a sun house there, and then they built the tennis court. I just think it's one of the best parks, but I'm biased, so.
Me too.
But, thanks.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, on Councilor Gerard's motion for adoption, all those in favor? Opposed? So moved. Further communication from the mayor.
We have an order in accordance with Mass General Law, Chapter 40V, establish a housing development zone in the downtown and zone plan as part of the Commonwealth of Mass Housing and Development Incentive Program that incents the development of market-rate housing in a zone established by an eligible municipality. The proposed zone, 65 Washington Street, 29 Federal Street, 15 Federal Street, 32 to 50 Federal Street, and 252 Bridge Street.
Councilor Milo.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that this be referred to the Committee on Economic Development, Community and Economic Development? Co-posted. Co-posted with the Committee of the Whole.
Okay, you're not moving the public hearing as?
No, we're going to send it to committee first.
Okay. Councilor Milo moves that this be referred to the Committee on Community and Economic Development, co-posted with the Committee of the Whole. Under discussion.
Just quick discussion. I've had conversations. I had a conversation with Tom Daniel earlier today about moving this to a committee to get more information to the council before we actually go to the public hearing, so that we have some context in which to participate, to hear the public hearing participants.
All right, further discussion. Councilor McCarthy.
Nope, I'm good.
All set. Okay, on Councilor Milo's motion that this be referred to Committee on Economic Committee on Community and Economic Development, co-posted Committee of the Whole. All those in favor? Opposed? So moved. Mayor's informational page, none. Motions, orders, and resolutions. Councilor Epley.
Thank you, Mr. President. City of Salem, in the year 2016, an ordinance to amend an ordinance relative to traffic. Be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Salem as follows. Section 1, Chapter 42, Section 50B, handicap parking limited time is hereby amended by adding the following. Ord Street, in front of number 8 Ord Street for a distance of 20 feet, handicap parking only tow zone. Section 2, this ordinance shall take effect as provided by City Charter.
Councilor Epley, and
move for adoption.
Councilor Epley moves for adoption for first passage. Under discussion.
Thank you, Mr. President. A senior on Ord Street who is starting to have some mobility issues asked for this. She has handicap tags. We approached Lieutenant Przewski regarding this. This also happens to be an area that's next to a body shop just down the street that unfortunately sometimes some of the customers' cars end up on the street, even though it's resident parking only. This will definitely make it much easier for this particular resident to be able to get in and out of her home and her car in a much more safe way.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, on Councilor Epley's motion for adoption first passage, all those in favor? Opposed? So moved. Further motions, orders, and resolutions. Councilor Gerard.
Thank you, Mr. President. City of Salem in the year 2016, an ordinance to amend an ordinance relative to traffic. Be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Salem as follows. Section 1, Chapter 42, Section 50B, handicap parking limited time, is hereby amended by adding the following. Devereaux Street in front of number 2 Devereaux Street for a distance of 20 feet, handicap parking only tow zone. Section 2, this ordinance shall take effect as provided by city charter.
Councilor Gerard moves for adoption.
I move for adoption for first passage.
Gerard moves for adoption for first passage. Under discussion.
Thank you, Mr. President. Similar to what my colleague had mentioned, this resident had asked about handicap parking in front of her home and spoke with and reached out to Lieutenant Brzezinski, and he approved this, so I also support this.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, on Councilor Gerard's motion for adoption first passage, all those in favor? Opposed? So moved. Further motions, orders, and resolutions. Councilor Lovely.
Thank you, Mr. President. City of Salem in the year 2016, an ordinance to amend an ordinance relative to traffic. Be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Salem as follows. Section 1, Chapter 42, Section 50B, handicap parking, limited time is hereby amended by adding the following. Wheatland Street, in front of number 12 Wheatland Street for a distance of 20 feet, handicap parking only tow zone. Section 2, this ordinance shall take effect as provided by the City Charter.
Councilor Lovely's motion for adoption first passage under discussion.
Just a motion for first passage, no discussion.
Thank you. Seeing no further discussion on Councilor Lovely's motion for adoption first passage, all those in favor? Opposed? So moved. Further motions, orders, and resolutions. Councilor Fury?
Yes, please. Councilor Chorial.
Thank you, Mr. President. City of Salem, year 2016, ordinance to amend an ordinance relative to traffic. Be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Salem as follows. Section 1, Chapter 42, Section 50B, handicap parking limited time is hereby amended by adding the following. Laurel Street in front of number 14 Laurel Street for a distance of 20 feet, handicap only tow zone. Section 2, this ordinance shall take effect as provided for by City Charter, and I move for adoption for first passage.
On discussion?
No discussion, Mr. President.
Hearing no discussion, all those in favor? All those opposed? Unanimous. Councilor Chorial.
Further motions, orders, and resolutions. Councilor Fury.
Yes, please. Ordered that the regular meeting of the City Council previously set for the months of December be changed to Thursday, December 8th, 2016, Mr. President.
And
normally, we have regular full meeting tonight.
Motion for adoption first.
Motion for adoption, I knew that.
Thank you.
I was testing you.
Councilor Fury moves for adoption under discussion.
We're having one major regular meeting tonight for November. This is to have one major meeting on Thursday, December 8th, with the busy holidays and everything going on, Mr. President.
Councilor Lovely.
Yes, through you, Mr. President, I guess, what's the reason for moving it from the 1st to the 8th? Do we have a reason?
The reason for moving it to a week later is simply because we have a number of matters, particularly the Derby Street matter, where we're still waiting for data to come in, and we're not going to be able to act on it or hold the committee meetings on it until that week, because we're still waiting on answers and we're still waiting on test data. So that's the reason. Councilor Gerard?
Thank you, Mr. President. And didn't you also point out that we were also going to be setting the tax rate? And we should do that on the 8th.
Yeah, there were tax rates. So, Councilor Lovely?
So the tax rate was not able to be set on the 1st?
The tax rate was that, and I am not 100% on this part, but I believe that free cash may not be certified in time for that. It's going to be kind of tight between the 1st and the 8th in that first week. So I'm not certain on that part of it as well, though.
So the primary reason for the vote
is also because we have committees that have to act during that time.
Derby Street, essentially?
That's the reason. That's probably the biggest. Okay. Councilor McCarthy? I don't, so. Any other discussion? Right. Seeing none, on Councilor Fury's motion for adoption, all those in favor? Opposed? So moved. Further motions, orders, and resolutions. Councilor Famico.
City of Salem in the year 2016, an ordinance to amend an ordinance relative to traffic. Be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Salem as follows. Section 1, Chapter 42, Section 50B. Handicap parking limited time is hereby amended by adding the following. Emerton Street, easterly side along number 2 Emerton Street for a distance of 20 feet, handicap parking only tow zone. Section 2, this ordinance shall take effect as provided by City Charter.
And Councilor Fumiko and
For
move for...
adoption for first passage.
Thank you. And Councilor Fumiko's motion for adoption first passage, under discussion?
Yes, this particular resident, she actually does not live at number 2. However, where her house is, there is no parking directly in front. So the lieutenant found the next possible close location for that. So that's why it's not directly in front of her house for this one.
Any further discussion? Seeing none. On Councilor Fumiko's motion for adoption of first passage, all those in favor? Opposed? So moved. Further motions, orders, and resolutions. Councilor Fumiko.
Yes. City of Salem and the City Council, November 17th, 2016. Ordered that no municipal garage or surface lot monthly or yearly passes be sold to any lodging establishment for the rotating use of guests for the next 120 days, unless a new order is passed permitting their sale. And Mr. President, I would like to amend this first.
Okay, well, first, the motion, you will move for adoption first?
I move it for adoption, but it's a moratorium, so.
Okay. Councilor Fumiko moves for adoption, under discussion. No.
Yes, I'd like to amend this with the first line, and I have it all written out, cross out yearly and make it annual. And then after rotating, add use. It was, that was left out. Then another paragraph I'd like to add on, councilors. It's, be it further ordered that no agreement be negotiated or executed allowing for municipal or surface lot monthly or annual passes be issued to any lodging establishment within the next 120 days. The reason behind that is initially when I put the order in, although it says sale, that does not make it that an agreement could not be written up or a future agreement after this 120 days. So it also puts a hold on that. So say next week an agreement was written out, it couldn't actually carry it out. The reason behind this, councilors and members of the chamber, recently it came out during a downtown construction meeting that a couple lodging establishments, primarily hotels, were looking to buy municipal garage passes. And as we all know, those are at a significantly less of a rate than if someone was paying the $20 rate fee. This will put a moratorium in place essentially so that we can have a discussion, which is my next order and for tonight, and we'll make it so that we can actually have this discussion before all of a sudden we're losing another 40 passes from one establishment, maybe more others. The garage itself just did get automated in the last couple weeks, so we're finally going to have some real data to work with. We finally have that director on board and a commission on board as well. And that way we're putting it on hold, we're making sure we're not jumping into anything or essentially giving away what's left of the garage parking before we actually look into this. And I've already been hearing from some businesses that use these passes as well as residents downtown that had concerns about this. So essentially this is a moratorium until another order was put in.
So, Councilor Epley?
First of all, I'll second the amendments that...
I think I was going to ask for that.
That Councilor Fumiko just included. And second, I wanted to be state in full support of what the councilor from Ward 2 has outlined, and good catch on the Ward 2 councilor's part. It's been my understanding that the city garages are for our residents, our visitors, and our business people as they come and go. And that would include guests from hotels, but it's first come, first serve. That's the way it works. And I have been in support of the designated spots in both of the different garages where we sell them for a period of time. But my understanding was, and I believe in all of the applications, that it's limited to that person or that vehicle and that vehicle license plate, and it's not to be transferred. I understand we have some new downtown hotels. I'm in full support of them. But one of the things in building is knowing what your parking requirements are going to be, and they can't just take that directly from the city. So I'm going to be very circumspect on allowing the city to give away or sell what are otherwise public parking spots to downtown hotels. I want guests to come, but that there needs to be a very measured way that we do this.
Any further discussion? Councilor Fumiko?
Yeah, just to tag on to what the Good Ward 4 council was saying, the current application for garage passes does state that it can't be transferred from vehicle to vehicle. So if this were to happen, it would be a violation of the current application, which needs to be reviewed anyhow by us, and this gives us an opportunity to do so. I am in support of some development, but at the same time, we need to look out for who's currently here, especially in a downtown hub.
So, further discussion, Councillor Fury?
I tend to disagree, sincerely. I sends a wrong message to businesses. We have already worked with Lark Development, this hotel, to be part of downtown Salem. If you look at it, what it's before Lark took over, it was a desolate, derelict eyesore in the middle of downtown, right near where you live. And it sends a wrong message. Here they are willing to come in, do investment in Salem, and they need parking, of course. Downtown mall, one-way direction situation. They need it. We do that in the garage by the waterfront. We do it for the main garage. And neither one are full any one time, any one day, except haunted happenings, maybe. Sincerely. So I think that's up for the city to negotiate their own garage. It's city garage. So I think they have a sincere right to negotiate certain spots. And Lark, if we send a wrong message to Lark, and we need Lark and other development to come into Salem, we're sending a wrong message. There's no guaranteed spot. They couldn't even find a spot there if they really wanted to. There's no parking near you or your house. They need to use the garage. I use the garage often. We just got passes as a city councilor. Got passes to the garage. It's a well-utilized facility, both of them. So I think it sends a wrong message. I'll be voting opposed.
So, Councillor Fury?
Yes, please. Councilor Choyo.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm in support of this moratorium, and I say it for a fairly simple reason. When Lark came in, and I was very happy to do the tax incentive deal with them. I think that the redevelopment is going to be a wonderful thing. And I think it's great to have more tourists actually in the downtown. I think it's going to be a terrific development. I love the work that they're doing. But there's also kind of a bit of a catch. When they came in to talk about this with us, they told the city council that they had no intention of parking in the garages. They said they did not plan to park. They would have people, they expected their visitors to come mainly by other means and park elsewhere or come by train, and they said they would have a lot of that sort of tourism. So that's, they've realized that that's not a fully realistic model, and that's fine, but we have the garages right now. We have a fairly high capacity garage downtown, in the middle of downtown. We have the South Harbor garage. We have another parking region with the MBTA garage, several surface lots. But if the city is going to just give passes kind of willy-nilly to whoever wants to use them, or to whoever wants to buy the passes, first off, by letting them take annual passes and passing them from car to car, you're pretty much costing the city money at that point, because you're giving up. First off, you're looking at passes that are being used in a way that they're not supposed to be used by our own regulations. And secondly, we're also taking people, using the garages in a way for which they really weren't intended. We have our visitors there. We have city employees parked there. We do have people who are required to buy passes by their deeds for some of our downtown condominiums to get by the parking requirements. And that's something that's been done in the decisions that allowed those developments to happen, and that's worked out fairly well. And we have those reserve spaces, and that's been working fairly well, but that's a small portion of our actual parking inventory. So I think we do now have a new parking and traffic director. We have a new commissions here. We have one of the members here in the audience right now to watch our ongoing proceedings to really take a look at this with really solid professional qualifications. And I think it's a good time to take a step back. The Hotel Salem isn't even going to open until next summer. So by putting a halt on this for the time being and letting this all get worked out, and making sure we do things right, I think there's no harm done in that, and I wouldn't want to enter into any agreements prematurely on behalf of the city until this has time to be addressed. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, further discussion. We had Councillor McCarthy, then I think Councillor Formica again, then Councillor Lovely. Okay, Councillor McCarthy, then Councillor Lovely.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm not going to get up here and argue the merits of parking. I mean, parking's a big issue. I'm going to go back to the order, and my only question of the two councilors is 120 days enough? I mean, I applaud the idea of putting a time limit on it and coming and putting all feet to the fire to get this thing moving. But when you look at the fact that we're in November and we only have one meeting in December, you're talking Christmas, and then you're talking reorganization the 1st of January, you're basically 45 days out of the 120 that you have proposed are basically going to be unusable because we won't be able to hear anything on them or do anything on them. So I guess my only question, I'm not going to argue merits of parking, is 120 days enough to get this into committee at some point in January, deal with it and get it out before this expires? That's my only question.
Councilor Fumiko.
I'd be okay with changing it to being longer until, because a new order could be submitted to allow it to happen later on. So what would you propose, councilors?
I would think if it added 130 days, make it to 150.
How about 180, so we have a...
That's fine.
So Councilor Fumiko is proposing that we amend that to be 180 days. Is there a second for that?
Second.
Second by Councilor Gerard. For discussion, Councilor Lovely.
Thank you, Mr. President. Through you, the parking garage has been here a long time. Parking garage was here when I was a city councilor back in, let's see, when was it? 1977. But I'm just speaking for myself. I got an email saying, come turn in your old parking pass, come get your new parking pass. I was never offered a parking pass back in 1977. I was never offered one when I first come on the council. I called immediately and said, look, take my name off the list of having a parking pass. There's a large list of people who have parking passes, some deservedly so, and I'm not saying anybody doesn't deserve the parking spot, but I, for one, am not taking the parking pass. I had it removed, and I asked my wife, who served here for 15 years, if she was ever offered a parking pass. She said no. She was unaware of the benefit, I suppose, because maybe since she left, maybe Council Epley has the most parking tickets, but I can tell you that Councilor Lovely never had to bring canned goods down because she was in there immediately paying her parking tickets, and she had quite a few because the cars were registered in my name. But every individual councilor has to figure for themselves, is it something that they should have? I pay for parking at my office here downtown, but it's my personal opinion. I don't cast any aspersions on other councilors who see it as a benefit, something they need. But we do have to address the parking. We have a new parking traffic commission. They're going to address that. I'll go along with the will of the council. But a lot of the calls I get are, we need more parking. People are probably getting emails saying, I want to come downtown, but I can't find a place to park, or the meter maids are aggressive. It's a good thing because we have a lot going on downtown, but we need to be looking as a council and as a city, we need more parking. Is it a deck on Riley Plaza? Is it something over at the Church Street lot, which is we know as Almies? We need more parking. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, on Councilor Fumiko's motion, order as amended through the friendly amendments, that it be to take that second paragraph and to also extend the moratorium for 180 days. All those in favor? All those opposed?
Opposed.
So moved. Let the record reflect that Councilor Fury is opposed. Okay. Further motions, orders, and resolutions. Councilor Fumiko.
City of Salem and the City Council, November 17, 2016. Ordered that the Committee on Community and Economic Development meet to discuss the use of municipal public garages and surface lots, including the eligibility for passes in the application process. Invited, the mayor or her designee, the traffic and parking director, the director of planning, the finance director, Kate Fox of Destination Salem, the Salem Chamber of Commerce, and I'm adding on Salem Main Streets and Traffic and Parking Commission members. And this will be co-posted.
So, and on Councilor Fumiko's motion that this be adopted, under discussion.
Yes, Mr. President, so this tags on to the last one. This is allowing us to have a discussion of exactly the uses, rates, everything else in a public format, that way people from different industries, whether it's the hotels can come, members of the tourism industry, the residents themselves, business owners, everything else, so we can have this conversation and iron out what our goals are and what we're visioning the use of the garages in the future. And I spoke with the chair of that committee, and she's looking for a date, possibly in the near future, and we'll make sure that folks know about it ahead of time.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, on Councilor Famico's motion for adoption, all those in favor? Opposed? So moved. Further motions, orders, and resolutions. Councilor McCarthy.
Thank you, Mr. President. City of Salem City Council, November 17th, 2016. Order that the following streets be given temporary resident parking status through the end of the power plant construction. In orange, resident parking only signs be put up to indicate the order. This order is to treat these streets as we treat temporary streets during the month of October for Halloween. Derby Street from Blaney Street to Ford Avenue, Webb Street from Ford Avenue to Derby, Ford Ave from the intersection of Ford Ave to Webb Street, Ford Avenue from the intersection of Ford Ave and Webb to the number 39 Ford Avenue.
On Councilor McCarthy's motion, this be adopted. Under discussion.
Thank you, Mr. President. We probably had one of our least eventful months during the month of October with regards to power plant employees or subcontractor employees, or however you want to determine the people that work down at the power plant. It's not, unfortunately, right now we're in a ramp-up period where we're trying to, Iberdrola and all their subcontractors are trying to push to get this project done. They have they're at maximum amount of employees they anticipate on site. In doing so, space on the site is a little limited, and some of the individuals don't like to use the satellite parking. And my issue is that they tend to be parking in front of the residential homes there. And as much as some people may think that someone parked out in front of their house from 7 o'clock in the morning until 3:30 in the afternoon isn't a big deal. It's a big deal to the people who live there. It's a big deal to me. So this order is just to grant temporary status for these streets during to the end of the construction period. It's just especially when we move through the winter, just to get these guys to get on site. As much as there's nothing in place that we can force them to do so, this is kind of a nice, friendly way to, without imposing a lot of, permanent restrictions on parking in the neighborhood, is just a way of kind of gently nudging the guys either to the satellite parking further down Ford Avenue or back onto site. And I would ask for everyone's support on this.
Councilor Famico.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just have a question, through you, to the Good Ward 1 Councilor. As this is temporary, will the residents just be getting, for example, the paper hang tags on Halloween season, so it's not the plastic placards that are actually you get for 2+ years, or the decals?
It would be exactly like Halloween as indicated. Right. If it becomes an issue and there is a need to get the hanging tags, we do. To be 100% honest, it is just to deter the power plant workers. There is no intent whatsoever to ticket any resident. If any resident gets a ticket in this zone, they can feel free to call me, and I will personally go down and talk to Bonnie about getting the fee waived. This is specifically to deal with workers. The workers, unfortunately, come 3 o'clock, 3:30, it's no disrespect to them, they take a beeline out of there, through the neighborhood. In some instances, to avoid the traffic light at Ziggy's, they go around by fire prevention. I had to have the lights turned back on that hadn't been working in 15 years for the school zone, and then they take a left around the Bentley School so that they can get to Ziggy's intersection and take the right so they don't have to wait for the light. I have parents complaining to me in the school. That's what they're doing. I have 3 times a week, I have police details out on those streets trying to enforce traffic regulations, try to get these guys to slow down and stop. There is nobody in this room or in this city that wants this project done more than me. This is just a way to help the residents that live in that neighborhood. If it becomes an issue and all of a sudden I see an influx of tickets, we'll put out code red. We'll invite them in to get the hanging tags. I just don't want a situation where all of a sudden someone gets a hanging tag. I think what we did this past year for Halloween was the best thing yet. The hanging tag had the license plate number on the back. So it's clearly that if someone tries to give this away or tries to trade this or whatever happens, that it goes with the car. That's just the way it is. It's no intent to try to make any restrictions harder on the neighbors. The intent is to those workers who are parked there during the day that aren't residents, they have the ability to get ticketed. Because that seems to be the only way to make them understand. It's going to be to try to hit them in their wallet to make them understand that they need to be on site or they need to move to the designated zones that we've created for them, and they can take a shuttle bus to site. If it comes to the fact that we have to notify the residents and they feel compelled to need those, we'll put out the code red, they can come in, they can see Bonnie, I'll arrange it with Bonnie and the administration to make sure that that's the process that's in place. But there's no way that I'm asking for anybody to pay a fee to get a permanent sticker. It's to mimic what happens during Halloween.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, on Councillor McCarthy's motion for adoption, all those in favor? Opposed? So moved. Further motions, orders, and resolutions. Councillor Sargent.
Thank you, Mr. President. City of Salem and City Council, November 17, 2016, ordered that the City of Salem check the safety record of any contractor or subcontractor before they are allowed to work on a City of Salem job site.
On Councillor Sargent's motion for adoption, under discussion.
Thank you, Mr. President. I actually take no credit whatsoever for this. I heard Marty Walsh near Boston talking about this on the radio after 2 men were unfortunately killed in a tunnel. And it reminded me right away of a man we almost lost when they were building the Rowan courthouse, when a bunch of marble fell down on them, and there was some real questions about the safety record of the subcontractor. And include subcontractors because sometimes a contractor has problems and is told to be off the site, and they come back the next day as a different name company or a different subcontractor, and here they are, the same people making the same decisions on the job site again. So this is just a way for us to make sure we know that somebody has no OSHA violations, no safety, problems before they get on the site and try to head off somebody getting hurt or, worst case scenario, killed on a job site. Thank you.
Any further discussion? Councillor McCarthy.
I'm sorry, I was assigned to my order. Is this being referred to committee, or is this going to any specific department? I mean, is it going to be engineering, DPS? I mean, is the city as a whole? I mean, who's going to be the oversight on this?
Councillor Sargent?
Whoever would be responsible for issuing them the permit for work. I'm assuming the building inspector would have to do the check. But whoever's responsible for it, I just assumed it would take its course. I don't assume to tell the city departments how to run. Whoever is in charge of allowing them to work will be in charge of checking their safety record.
Councillor McCarthy.
As a follow-up to that, and the only reason I say this is because I'm going to pay wordsmith because I'm a contractor. Is this on city projects, or is this on projects in general, like someone working on somebody's house?
City of Salem projects.
Because it doesn't say that. It says it's on a City of Salem job site. That could mean a City of Salem. So you mean City of Salem property? Mean streets or property?
Not on a job site in the City of Salem, on a City of Salem job site.
Thank you.
You're building a school, courthouse.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Could I suggest that somebody offer a friendly amendment to just clarify that wording? Say, and come up with the said wording, Councillor Gerard?
Thank you, Mr. President. Actually, can I ask that this go to a committee to work this out further? Because it seems like that there's some ambiguity in what this is really driving at, and it may be more beneficial just to work it out in committee.
Would this make sense to go to Public Health and Safety and bring it back for the December meeting?
Sure.
Would that work, Councillor? Or
What's confusing about we're asking for them to check the safety record of a company doing work for the City of Salem. Exactly what they just did in the Boston City Council.
Say, Councillor McCarthy?
Hey, I don't have any problem whatsoever with that. I just want to know who you're going to make responsible for this, because a road project does not fall under the building inspector. A road project falls under DPS and or the city engineer, depending upon what project's in it. So you're basically talking about potentially 3 different entities having oversight over this. When I read it real quick, the only clarification I saw was the fact that, and the schools actually fall under LaRue, but then it falls back under the city. The only thing, when I said, where it says work on a City of Salem job site, that was ambiguous to me just because it says City of Salem job site. I mean, I have a job site going in the City of Salem right now, but it's not for a city project. It happens to be to put an addition on someone's home. I could put it upon myself and the homeowner that I will bring in responsible people to work on their home. When I read it real quick, when I first blushed, without really getting into it, where the comma is placed and where the actual intent is, I understand now it's for a city project, which is fine. If that's the intent, I have no problem with that. I believe that the city should be bringing in contractors that don't have big OSHA violation records and whatnot. But the follow-up to that is, who's going to check their records? That's the only question I have.
Councillor Milo, let me just
just whoever's in charge. If the city engineer, as you just said, is in charge of hiring somebody to come in and do the hot topping, then they're in charge of checking their safety record. Whoever's in charge, somebody has to hire them. Somebody has to approve them. They have to have a clean safety record before you approve them.
So Councillor Milo, then Councillor Gerard.
Whatever
Thank you.
it may be.
Thank you, Mr. President. I mean, I think we need to pass the order and let the city figure out who's going to be in charge, but I would say probably purchasing, they could make it as part of a standard award that that's one of the checks that you do, is you check, a safety record. I mean, I think the internal process has to be figured out. I don't think we can dictate the administrative piece of this. I think we can require that this be done, but as far as how it gets done, I think that's up to the administration.
All right, Councillor Gerard?
Thank you, Mr. President. I mean, this is exactly why it should go to a committee, because I don't think that it's clear to any of us exactly who is overseeing the safety record of any contractor or subcontractor who's doing any work within the city or doing any work on municipal property. And that's why I think that this would be helpful, just to go to committee, to have the different department heads who we think might be doing it, and then get clarification. Because if they're already doing it, I mean, you're saying, let's not tell them how to do their jobs, but let's find out, and then at least we know what we're dealing with, and then let's make sure that this has some teeth to it, because I think that there really is a good spirit here, but let's make sure that we're not already doing it.
Councillor Fury?
Councillor Churiel?
Thank you, Mr. President. I would say I'm completely in support of this, and I do think it's important that we have, if we're not already doing so, that we check for any safety violations on people doing city jobs. And I would like to have the maximum oversight of that possible. My only concern, and I will go with whatever the will of the body is on this. My only concern in the order as it's written is that it appears to my reading to be a little bit ambiguous, and as mentioned, does not really specify who needs to deal, what departments need to deal with this, how it would be dealt with. That can be worked out administratively, but I'm a little concerned that it doesn't very specifically state that this is for people doing work on behalf of the city on city sites. So that's the one concern I have about this. If the will of the body is to pass this as it stands, I am fine with passing it. My personal preference would be that it go to public health and safety and be referred to be so that we can tinker with that if necessary, and then refer it right back out in time for the December meeting. I think there will be no problem in passing it whatsoever, but I do believe that it might be a little less ambiguous if we don't pass it for final passage until the December 8th meeting. Thank you.
Councillor Ryan, Milo, and Epley have some concerns.
I recognize them all. Councillor Ryan?
I agree. I just think I don't like voting on things right away. I'd rather have it go to a committee. They might already be doing this, but then we can call the building inspector, the city engineer, and ask them. I mean, they're the ones that are going to be doing it. Say, what do you guys do? Do you look at the safety record? They might already be doing it. I think it can't hurt. I mean, I'm sure they do some type, not extensive, like where it probably should be, like maybe on the permit, check off safety record was reviewed or something. But
Councillor Epley?
Can I take suggestions?
Councillor, hold on one moment.
Let's call in.
Yeah.
Maybe I can provide a compromise that achieves both goals. One is that we get something into effect now, but that we also have a review in the interim. We're not going to really have, I mean, to be honest, with all of the different other committee hearings that we're going to have that are going forward, I don't know that we're going to have enough time to have a committee meeting on this issue prior to our December hearing. So what I would suggest as a friendly amendment to the at-large councilor would be that we, similar to the 180-day moratorium, that we put this into effect as is for 180 days, and that we also simultaneously refer this to the Committee on Public Health, Safety, and Environment, co-posted with the Committee of the Whole.
Councilor?
I'm up for that, and also, I get a list, I'll take suggestions on anybody that you might want to invite. I'm ready to write.
City engineer?
Okay, city engineer.
As the chair, don't I invite?
Well, it's his order.
His order.
It's his order.
Anybody?
Purchasing agent.
Purchasing agent?
Building inspector?
Building inspector?
Public Works.
School department, public,
School
school building manager.
Councilor McCarthy?
I mean, with all due respect, I agree with everything. The only question is, can't someone make a phone call to find out? If we already do this, why are we inviting in every department head in the city in order to have a discussion about this?
We may not need them once we've made the phone calls, but if we...
Exactly.
And if we already do it, it's redundant. Better to have it twice than
Okay.
none at all, right?
Okay.
No, I am
But I
fine with that,
suggest
so.
that all the people you listed might be the people that should be in charge.
So the motion with the friendly amendment accepted by Councilor Sargent is to adopt this for 180 days with a referral to the Committee on Public Health, Safety, and the Environment for review. Councilor Gerard?
Thank you, Mr. President. How about instead of that, we just give it to Councilor Sargent to just find out before the December 8th meeting? How about that?
Thing is, we
And then,
a couple of years ago, we almost got somebody killed on a job site. So if we were doing it, we probably...
That was a state job, so...
I know it was a state job, but they were working in the city of Salem. So they, I've never heard of any case where they checked that. They weren't doing it in the city of Boston, and 2 men died. So we can make light of this, but these, if you work on these difficult jobs, it can mean life and death.
I'd say nobody's making light of this, Councilor. But Councilor McCarthy?
I want to go on record as saying that I am not making light of this at all. I'm a contractor. I pay so much money to workman's comp and liability on a yearly basis just to operate a business that I take safety very seriously. This is why I don't want to haphazardly just say, what's this doing? That's why when it specifically said City of Salem job site, it didn't say a city-owned property, it said a job site in the city of Salem. We just referenced a courthouse project that was run by the state, that had nothing to do with the city, but now we're referencing it as a possible why we want to do this. That's, I mean, I work with contractors every day. Some guys have violations that could be as simple as the prong was missing from their extension cord and it wasn't grounded properly, that they give them a violation. It happens. Or it could be from an accident, from a fall, which is very serious. In the 20-some years that I've been in business, myself, but prior to that, my father, I think that in those 40-some odd years of some continuous legacy, lineage through business, I think maybe 2 claims against that for minor things. Thank God, knock on wood. I try to run a safe job site. I encourage my subcontractors to try to run safe. That's what anyone should do. I don't disagree with this. I think it's a great idea that we should have competent people doing jobs in the city of Salem. My only question was, it was not to make light of this. Let's be honest, this is very serious, is to say who is going to be the oversight and to what degree. I mean, there's people out there that have violations. Who's to rank what the violations are and whether or not that qualifies or disqualifies them to work in the city? I don't know. That's the question.
Yeah, Councilor Gerard?
thank you, Mr. President. And again, I'm not making light of this at all. I just think that instead of waiting 180 days, instead of doing whatever, that if Councilor Sargent just asks the question and then reports back to us on December 8th, and we'll have the answer. And then we can go from there and decide if we want to do a committee meeting. If there isn't something already in place as to how these contractors or subcontractors, how their work histories are reviewed, then there should be something in place, and that can be an opportunity. And we should just at least find out.
I would say if we also put it before the committee, we will have an opportunity then if he gets that information, because we have the friendly amendment to do that now, to refer it over. So with the adoption, so that said, if he has that the sooner he has that information gathered, the sooner the committee can act and discuss with that information in hand, so.
But I don't want there to be a situation where we're waiting on the committee to make a final decision when it could be just a very simple answer that these are the people who do it. So that's why I'm just asking that instead of going to committee, that yes, there needs to be further discussion about it, but just ask Councilor Sargent that I think that this is a great question. This is very concerning, and so report back to us on December 8th. If you find something that's not copacetic, then it's something that we do need to bring into committee. I will gladly bring it to committee. There's no question that it's important.
Right. We have it as amended right now to go to the committee after adoption. Further discussion from other members before we move this, or Councilor Milo?
I just want to say that I support the Ward 4 councilor's compromise.
As do I.
Yep. Yeah, and we adopted it as a friendly amendment, so, that is. Any further discussion? Seeing none, on Councilor Sargent's motion for adoption as amended to adopt this for a 180-day period and simultaneously refer the order for further research to the Committee on Public Health, Safety, Environment with co-posted with the provision that Councilor Sargent will try and gather as much of this information as possible before the committee sits down. All those in favor? All those opposed? So moved. Further motions, orders, and resolutions. Councilor Sargent.
Thank you. Just a point of personal privilege, I did look through all the ordinances and books to try and find information on this and found nothing on it so far, but I'll continue to look.
Thank you.
Okay, let's try this one. City of Salem and City Council, November 17, 2016, ordered that all the council orders currently in Committee of the Whole be referred to one of the 5 committees of the City Council. No discussion.
And Councilor Sargent's motion for adoption under discussion.
This I got through, first came when Councilor Lovely brought up the issue of having to appoint someone to chair the Committee of the Whole. And then secondly, at the Rules Committee, Council Rules Committee, we did some further reading on the Committee of the Whole through Cushing's rules and some of the City Council rules. And from reading those rules, the Committee of the Whole is something similar to going into executive session. It's something that we're supposed to break into during a council meeting to discuss something like we just did. Under that, we could have went to Committee of the Whole, somebody chaired it, we discussed it, or a resolution, something that you would vote on that night. It's not for something that would be referred to a standing committee. So the Committee of the Whole is meant for that based on those rules, and it's not a standing committee of the City Council. Things are supposed to be referred to one of the 5 committees of the City Council. So that's why I brought this in, to see if we can move the things that are in Committee of the Whole to one of the standing committees of the City Council based on Cushing's rules and based on the City Council rules. I think in the City Council rules, it says when the City Council breaks into Committee of the Whole. That doesn't refer to anything being assigned to the Committee of the Whole permanently. It says, Section 26, when the council shall determine to go into Committee of the Whole. That's during a meeting when they break into it based on reading through Cushing's rules. And I'll leave it at that and leave it under discussion and see where it takes us.
So under discussion first, Councilor McCarthy was first. And
thank you, Mr. President. The one aspect that is kind of being overlooked right now is the sunshine ordinance. You didn't once reference the sunshine ordinance. Basically, the sunshine ordinance, which was put in by a bunch of, which was requested by a bunch of citizens and looked at and put in committee and voted on and then came to the council for a vote, is the way you could act on things and when meetings have to be posted. We probably have some of the most strict rules by far. We have stricter rules than they do at the state, that we do. And the issue with that is when you have a matter in committee, as we all know, there's the standing committees, there's 5 members of the committee. Therefore, technically, that's why you see all these meetings, licensed or illegal, co-posted with the Committee of the Whole. They're co-posted because that allows all of us to attend and interject and be part of the discussion. But the one thing that this gets lost on that is at the end, there's only 5 members that get to vote. The 5 members of the committee. The Committee of the Whole is extended to the Committee of the Whole so they can participate in the conversation. If it's not co-posted, anyone can attend the committee meeting, but if it's co-posted, it allows the remaining 6 councilors of the body to come and interact on the discussion. But at the end of the day, the difference is they are not allowed to vote, only the 5 standing members. The whole idea behind the Committee of the Whole, which has evolved, and I applaud going back through the rules, and we can look at the rules and amend the rules and try to adhere to the rules whichever way you want. I understand. But I just want to say, historically and prospectively, that's been going on for the last 10 years that I've been closely following and beyond, has been Committee of the Whole is an area that specifically deals with issues that doesn't quite fit into specifically one category and it allows everybody to participate, and at the end of the meeting, vote whether or not it's going to continue to go to the full council with a recommendation. That's kind of where it is. That's the way I look at it.
Councillor Epley.
Thank you, Mr. President. I will echo my Ward 1 colleagues' comments, and I would also say, as a member of the Ad Hoc Rules Committee, this has been one of the discussions that we've had. We've not voted out any recommendation as to that. There are very strong opinions on this issue, but not everyone's in agreement. And this, in a sense, this order puts the cart before the horse, as far as I'm concerned. I understand the intent behind it. I don't think there's any bad intent at all about this. We want to have the rules, and we want to make sure that they're followed, but we want to also make sure that the rules that we have been following are looked at and are understood as well. What I would suggest is that this actually be moved to the Committee on Ordinances, Licenses, and Legal Affairs, co-posted with the Committee of the Whole. Because this is a total, it is the whole body's discussion. My at-large colleague who chairs the ad hoc committee, we've co-posted those meetings. We have had Councilor Dibble attend, which was great. But we've not had any other councilors.
Councilor Sargent.
I apologize. Councilor Sargent also is there. That's true. That is absolutely true. But that still leaves us with only 5 members of an 11-member body to have any sort of input on this. So my suggestion would be that we move this to the Committee on Ordinances, Licenses, and Legal Affairs, co-posted with the Committee of the Whole.
I accept that. I accept that, and I don't think at any point it would any standing committee is allowed to be co-posted with Committee of the Whole, so that wouldn't affect people coming to Committee of the Whole. Just allows you to talk and not be able to vote. But part of this Committee of the Whole, when we meet in Committee of the Whole, there's no title to that. Almost everything in Committee of the Whole would fit in one of the 5 standing committees. When we meet as Committee of the Whole, it's redundant to have a council meeting afterwards because we've already voted on it as 11 members. So then we just vote on it again as a full council. But I accept that going to Legal Affairs and take that.
Councilor Fury?
Councilor Terriano.
Thank you, Mr. President. As the person who has been nominally the chair of the Committee of the Whole for the last year by our traditional practices, and dealt with all this, I will say some stuff in support in both directions. One is that I do believe in my 5 years here, this has been the practice of to have a Committee of the Whole. I don't know the reasons why it originated. I know it originated before my time on the council began. I know that it's been serving in this function pretty much as long as all the present members of the City Council have been here, and several before that, because I went back when this first came up, and I asked people who had been on the council as far back as the late 1980s, early 1990s. So this has been the practice for a fairly long time in this body. Maybe it came to pass because of the sunshine laws, maybe it came to pass for other reasons. I don't know that far back in the history, but the practice has been for a long time to operate the Committee of the Whole as a grouping of the 11 people traditionally chaired by the President. That's fine and dandy, and however we want to work with that when we do have the Committee of the Whole. I realize in the reading of Cushing's, and the traditional reason for the Committee of the Whole is basically to have the body in essentially what we use as an executive session, except we do it in the open, in Committee of the Whole, as opposed to an executive session where we go off in there and close the door. So I get that the interpretation as in Cushing's is different, and I get that there's some conflict with what we have in our rules as well for the Committee of the Whole and some of the phrasing in there. What I would say, though, in support of some of this is that I think we use the Committee of the Whole as a convenient place to put matters when we don't know how they fit a committee, or we don't want to make them fit a committee, or we kind of want to just dump it out and make everybody and have everybody deal with it. So I think we probably put more matters into the Committee of the Whole than we normally should do, than this body should do. but I think we do need to take a look at how the Committee of the Whole is structured, how it operates, what we use it for. I do think there is a place for a committee consisting of all 11 members to have the more informal meetings that a committee meeting represents, as opposed to having them be a extension of a regular council meeting. So, you know, what our current practice has been for the last couple of decades, I think is overall probably a good place for us to be, and I would hope that we ultimately wind up with a rules modification that supports that, but I would also say that we should have far fewer matters going into the Committee of the Whole and kind of save that for city issues that we need to discuss. Just as a, for instance, when we initially put the voting issues into the Committee of the Whole, some of the discussion there, that was probably a good place for it to be. But ultimately, that goes through, that's the kind of stuff that goes through a subcommittee like Government Services, like Ordinance, License, and Legal Affairs, and the changes we make would go that way. So I do think that this is worth taking a look at. I think actually putting this recommendation into Ordinance, License, and Legal Affairs is a good place for it right now. And you know, and I'll support that. And we do need to take a look at how we do things. For discussion, Councilor Gerard.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm surprisingly disagreeing with you. No, I think that the Committee of the Whole is very important that we have those meetings, because normally we work out all the details in the committee meetings. And so I think back to when I was first a councilor and we were talking about civil service. I mean, that could have gone to OLA and been co-posted, but that was a huge city decision that all of us should have been there, and we all were there, making our discussions, asking questions, and then taking a vote. And then we discussed it further out and we brought it out to the council, that exactly what the good Ward 1 councilor said, that it's important to have those committee meetings, to have the Committee of the Whole, because that's the time and place where we're supposed to be working this out. I mean, really, we're not supposed to be talking as much as we're talking right now anyway. This really should be housekeeping, and all the devil should be in the details in the committee meetings.
So moved.
Councilor
Did you bring it in?
I will be brief. So this is really for the folks at home, and that is this: that we have rules that for at least the past 3 years that I've been on in this body, when something is referred to committee, one of the subcommittees, the 5 subcommittees, what has generally happened is that matter gets a hearing, and it gets an up or down vote one way or the other. There's a hearing on that matter, and then it's reported back to the body, the larger body, the full council. My concern about getting rid of the Committee of the Whole is this: that we go back to an old practice, which is to bury something in committee and not bring it out. That's my concern, Mr. President, and that it would then require, here's where the rules come in, it would then require 8 votes of the City Council to bring out a matter from committee that a recalcitrant subcommittee chooses to keep in committee. I hope that's not where we're going, but that's my concern about us getting rid of what the tradition, at least in the recent tradition, has been of having the Committee of the Whole. Because if we have a Committee of the Whole meeting, Mr. President, that only requires 6 votes for something to pass and to come before the body. So that's not lost on me, and I don't want that lost on the folks at home. That might be one of the issues that at least I'm concerned about.
Any further discussion? No. So on Councilor Sargent's motion now that this change motion that this be referred to the Committee on Ordinances, License, and Legal Affairs, co-posted with the Committee of the Whole. All those in favor?
Exactly.
Opposed? So moved. Any further motions, orders, or resolutions? Seeing none, committee reports. Councilor McCarthy.
Thank you. City of Salem and the City Council, November 17, 2016. The Committee on License, Orders, and Legal Affairs, to whom was referred the matter of granting certain licenses, has considered submitted and recommend approval, Tag Day Salem High School Gymnastics for 1/19/17 and 2/12/17.
On acceptance of the committee report, all those in favor? Opposed? So moved. On adoption of the recommendation, under discussion?
No discussion.
On adoption of the recommendation, all those in favor? All opposed? So moved. Further committee reports.
I have one more comment.
Sorry, Councilor McCarthy.
Thank you. Where did it go? The water sheet. Oh, I'm at it. City of Salem, the City Council, what's today's date? I'm sorry. November 17, 2016. To whom was referred the matter to the Committee on Legal Affairs, Council Order Number 479, relative to an order to, on behalf of the mayor, to hereby authorize pursuant to the acts of the
Counselor.
executive deed.
We have to recuse.
Oh,
This
sorry,
is
this
regard
is
to
the...
North Shore
motion
Medical
by
Center.
Lisa,
Yeah, sorry. Let the record reflect that Councilors Miko and Gerard both recused.
The committee has reviewed said matter and recommend sending to the full council for approval. At this acceptance report, Mr. President.
Accepts the committee report. All is in favor? Opposed? So moved. Adopt the recommendation. Actually,
Thank
we
you.
can't discuss
In
it.
front of everyone, we have a document from the city solicitor relative to this agreement. At this point, I'll yield the floor to the Ward 3 councilor. This agreement affects his ward relative to the work being done at the North Shore Medical Center. And just for the record, one of the amendments that we talked about, which is in addition to what's on everyone's desk, is the following: be the further order that the mayor negotiate the use of the North Shore Medical parking lot to the rear of the Bertram Field homestand for the Bertram Field event parking.
So can we take this because this was not on the agenda?
It didn't appear on the agenda, but it was posted as a committee report, so it's being taken up.
So it is posted. Okay.
It was posted.
Sorry,
It didn't make it to the printing of the agenda. I posted it relative to, had it in posted relative, but it didn't make the agenda, that's all. It came out as a committee report.
Okay, so on adoption of the recommendation, any further discussion?
Nope, I just want to refer to Council Lovely.
I'll defer first to
Councilor Milo?
Councilor Milo.
My first question is, can we vote on this if it's not on the agenda?
That's a good question.
I think we've had this discussion on other matters before, and if it's not publicly posted on the agenda, we just talked about sunshine laws, that would be my question. My first question, can we do it?
Yeah, that's what I'm not clear on here on this matter.
You're right.
I don't think you can vote on it.
I am looking to the city clerk and the city clerk, and as the discussion goes on, now that I think about it, was the fact that I posted a meeting that we could have the matter taken up for Thursday's meeting, which was earlier tonight, but the fact that it was not posted prior to 12 o'clock on Tuesday, that would be correct. It would be an error that we take this up, so I withdraw all the discussions.
That turns into a late file.
We had a community meeting earlier, we took up this matter, and it will be reported out at the next meeting. And I just want to say that the recommendation from the committee was favorable, but at this time, the vote on this will actually have to wait until the first meeting in December.
So we will...
In order to, no, it's proper. As the discussion went on, I played it out in my head, and it was 100% correct.
So we accepted the committee report, but we will not act on the recommendation.
There's no committee report because it's not in front of us.
Sorry. All right, so forget the last couple minutes there.
There you go.
The councilors could return. Thank you.
Let's pass it.
So further committee reports. Councilor Epley.
Thank you, Mr. President. City of Salem, I'm just going to make sure that I've got the right one here. Oh, it's on the, all of these are on the agenda, so that's the good news. Just want to make sure I have it in the right order. City of Salem and the City Council, November 17, 2016, the Committee on Administration and Finance co-posted with the Committee of the Whole, to whom was referred the matter of an order authorizing the mayor to purchase property located at 289 Derby Street for $1.4 million. Said land shall be subject to open preservation restriction, has considered said matter, and would recommend that this matter remain in committee.
On acceptance of the committee report, all those in favor, all those opposed, so moved. On adoption of the recommendation, under discussion.
Thank you, Mr. President. We had a discussion earlier about this. There are several matters that have taken place in committee. We will have a further committee meeting with all of these matters to take place prior to our December 8th next council meeting. And I anticipate that that's going to be of the week of December 8th. We just need to pick the day to do that. So that's all. That's all on this one.
Okay, on adoption of the recommendation, all those in favor? Opposed? So moved. Further committee reports, Councilor Epley.
Thank you, Mr. President. City of Salem, the City Council, November 17, 2016, the Committee on Administration and Finance co-posted with the Committee of the Whole, to whom was referred the matter of a bond order in the amount of $1.4 million to be appropriated to pay costs for the CPA project, the acquisition of 289 Derby Street for recreation purposes and payment of all costs related, has considered said matter and would recommend that this matter remain in committee.
On acceptance of the committee report, all those in favor, all those opposed, so moved. On adoption of the recommendation, under discussion.
No discussion.
On adoption of the recommendation, seeing no further discussion, all those in favor? Opposed? So moved. Further committee reports, Councilor Epley.
Thank you, Mr. President. City of Salem, in the City Council, November 17, 2016, the Committee on Administration and Finance co-posted with the Committee of the Whole, to whom is referred the matter of a $100,000 appropriation within the CPA funds for fiscal year 2017 to the CPA for the 289 Derby Street design and costs. Has considered said matter and would recommend this matter remain in committee.
On acceptance of the committee report, all those in favor? Opposed? So moved. On adoption of the recommendation, under discussion.
No discussion.
On adoption of the recommendation, seeing no further discussion, all those in favor? Opposed? So moved. Further committee reports, Councilor Epley.
Thank you.
Nope. Wait, yes.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. President. City of Salem, in the City Council, November 17, 2016, the Committee on Administration and Finance co-posted with the Committee of the Whole, to whom was referred the matter of an order authorizing the mayor to enter into a lease-to-own agreement to acquire a pump truck for the fire department, has considered said matter and would recommend approval.
On acceptance of the committee report, all those in favor, all those opposed, so moved. On adoption of the recommendation, under discussion.
Thank you, Mr. President. We had a committee meeting earlier this evening, Your Honor, in which Chief Cody from the Fire Department, as well as Sarah Stanton, our Finance Director, that came before us to talk about a it's time for the purchase of a new pumper truck. What the fire department and Ms. Stanton have done is very creative, and that is to essentially it's a lease-to-own arrangement, Mr. President, to get us through this fiscal year. What that essentially means is because the trucks take 8-10 months for assembly, this gets us in the line to do exactly that, so that by the time that fiscal year 18 comes around in July 1 of 2018, and we're looking at our capital improvement project budget for next year, that will be the time that we purchase, Mr. President. So this just, again, gets the ball rolling on this and gets us going so that we have a pumper truck. And I also want to say, and I said this when we were first referred this to committee, my first year here in 2014, we were, I think the prior council had approved the ladder truck, and that was just with it, was like the ink wasn't even dry on the purchase and sale of that, and former councilor O'Keefe was saying, we need a pumper, we need a pumper. So we're delivering on that, and so I just wanted to add that bit as well.
Note this is our second pumper in that time, so. Councilor Dibble.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. I rise to agree with our good Ward 4 councilor and our chairperson on this. We did meet on it early tonight, and I think my good friend, Councilor Joe O'Keefe, would be proud of this because he did ask for this, and he always looked out for the firefighting services of Salem. At our meeting early tonight, I asked the chief our fire chief, to consider holding on to the backup pumper that we presently have in the Loring Avenue station, rather than just selling it off for $500 or $200 or scrap metal or $1,000 even. We typically give away these fire trucks for almost nothing, and I've asked him to retain that and maybe put it at the fire prevention building down the Willows or somewhere else in Salem, just in case one or two of our pumpers go down. We have something that's fully outfitted, fully ready to go as another backup. So he's going to consider that. Thank you.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, on Councilor Epley's motion for adoption, all those in favor? Opposed? So moved. Further committee reports, Councilor Milo.
Thank you, Mr. President. City of Salem and City Council, November 17th. The Ad Hoc Committee of Council Rules, to whom was referred the matter of reviewing the current rules, making recommendation and report back to the full council, has considered said matter and would recommend that the attached list of rules be adopted.
On acceptance of the committee report, all those in favor, all those opposed, so moved. On adoption of the recommendation, under discussion.
Thank you, Mr. President. We had a few meetings on this, and basically what we've done is we've presented a package deal. And, for lack of a better term, right? What I'd like to do is just give you a synopsis of each of the rules amendments or changes so that, I mean, I know everybody has a copy of this, but just so that they have a sense of what we did and where we made the changes and to a degree why. If everybody's okay with that, might take a couple minutes.
Go ahead.
Okay. So anyway, we looked at the first rule and decided we wanted to come into the 21st century. So we changed the method of delivery of the council package to electronic mail, and which is basically what we're doing now anyway. We get the agenda and the backup via email. I did have a conversation with our counselor who doesn't have email, and he understands that he can still request his paper package from the clerk until hopefully we become all electronic and digital, but for the time being, my understanding is that our at-large counselor is fine with that. As far as section 11 goes, talking about motions received, the list of motions that was in section 11, what we did basically was we just added 2 motions to it. With all the motions listed to adjourn, et cetera, we included to divide the question or to combine the question. Because there was, in section 19, that basically just addressed the division of the question. So what we recommend is that we repeal section 19 because it'll now be included in section 11. And if we repeal that, that's going to change the numbers of the sections going forward, which I think is just, you know, that'll be more or less a clerical thing. As far as section 22 goes, which is concerning how the members' seats are assigned, we basically decided that we were going to change the rule to meet the practice. So now the president will be assigning the seats of the members, but we also wanted to make sure that members had the option of changing their seats. So basically what we said was as long as the members notify the president that they want to change their seat and they've made the arrangements, it can be done. As far as section 30 goes, there was an outlier there that talked about the president of the Salem City Council assigning one counselor as a liaison to Historical Commission. We just decided to take that out of there, or recommend that we delete that, because we have our liaisons all assigned, and we weren't sure where this came from. We think it just never got deleted. As far as 32B goes, concerning purchase of the real property from the city, we recommended that this would go to the city solicitor for review and comment on that practice. Let me back up. I skipped a couple. Section 26 and 27 regarding the committee of the whole. We actually, as the Ward 4 councilor indicated in an earlier conversation, we actually recommended that those 2 particular sections stay in committee because there is so much discussion about it. It sounds like there'll be more discussion in OLA, so I think that will probably cover that. Let me see. Section 32, we talked about applications, grant applications for state or federal funds, and we decided that, so in that particular section, there's a discussion on a requirement for the administration to present to us certain information, a document prepared by, well, probably the planning department, that will contain a 36-month projection on staffing, et cetera. In other words, sometimes when we accept state or federal funds, they'll fund a position for 2 years, and then what happens to the position after the 2 years. So what was suggested was that we add a section or a sentence to say that if we did not get that information along with the request that we would send it back and request the information from the planning department. Section 37, the only thing we had a comment on in that section was under number 2, which talks about the time that meetings will be conducted, and basically we agreed with the 6 p.m., but gave the latitude that if any committee consents to it, that we could start as early as 5 p.m. And that is the sum of it.
Councilor Flamenco.
Thank you, Mr. President. I appreciate all the work put in by the ad hoc committee. I would like this to go to a committee, though. I just got my copy of this earlier. It wasn't with the council packet. Just looking through it, I think you guys covered a lot. I do notice in that last section, section 37, it still also mentions having the committee notice mailed to someone's house as well. So I know that could be something we could look at, just a quick catch on that. But I love that you put so much work into it. I'd like to kind of massage it out a little bit more and kind of absorb it, and then definitely take it up. But thank you.
Councilor McCarthy.
I want to echo that. I think the committee did a lot of great work, and they addressed a lot of issues that we've been dealing with. I guess my only question would be, the one that just came up, is, according to the rules, I posted a meeting properly, but because the meeting wasn't on the agenda, and it doesn't have this little parentheses around it, action unknown, meeting took place after the agenda deadline, it means that we can't take a vote on it tonight. So I guess that's a question, because the agenda's posted at noon on Tuesday, but I posted a meeting that was prior to 4 o'clock. I posted it prior to 4 o'clock on Tuesday, so we could have the meeting on Thursday, which allows the 48 hours. But in doing so, it's one of those, trust me, I don't want to limit the ability to have meetings. Especially if we have a meeting tonight, we can't have a meeting on Monday anymore because I can't post a meeting in time to have a meeting on Monday. But I guess the question is, we had a meeting, it wasn't on the agenda, but it was posted properly in order to have the meeting. So I guess the question is, can you still take a vote on it even though it was on the agenda? And I'm not asking to do that right now because that's a rules interpretation and I don't want to get into it, but that's just something that we have to look at, is because technically it was correct, but it didn't adhere to the rule that it has to be posted as of the deadline on Tuesday at noon. So it's just something, I just want to say that. And also relative to what went on earlier tonight, the 2 gentlemen who wanted to rename the square, they put a petition in front of us. It's on the agenda, and then because it's on the agenda, he's allowed to speak about it, which I didn't have a problem with technically, but he brought up a lot of information, and then because we've already heard him, then the will was to deny. Now, whether or not I agree with that or disagree with that is irrelevant, but the fact of the matter is, he brought in a petition that none of us had ever seen, other than it was brought to our attention that someone wanted to rename the square, and he's speaking about it, and we haven't even heard it. Something like that, a petition coming out of the public, should immediately just go to committee. It shouldn't be dealt with on the floor at that point, per se, unless it's some other action relative to a petition brought in by a city council. That's just another rules. When I look at the rules, it's because that involved it's an extended conversation right now, but that involved like 20 minutes of conversation about it. He was, well-spoken. He had his points of why he was looking for, but we'd never seen it, and we didn't know what his intent was or what his rationale was. So that's all I'll say. I think the rules are great, but there's always room to look at them and try to figure out. There's always going to be something we're going to be asking ourselves: can or can't we? How do we do this, and how do we do it properly?
Yep. Councilor Epley, then Councilor Gerard.
Thank you, Mr. President. As a member of the ad hoc committee, we had a great discussion. We didn't come to any conclusion. We were all just sort of thinking on it, like, what do we do with those petitions? I think that this going to Ola, sorry, that's fine. I think it makes sense to do that. The other thing I wanted to just mention, the good at-large counselor and chair of our committee mentioned the earlier start time for committee meetings. The intent behind that isn't to blindside certainly anybody in the public. We realize people work. And so this is really not, that should be, the 5 o'clock start time really should be used sparingly. I was the one who brought this up. It's really, I was thinking of for the budget meetings, for the Administration and Finance Committee, when we have those really long marathon meetings, if we start with the departments at 5 o'clock on those particular nights, that gets us going and hopefully gets us done a little sooner in the evening time, so.
Councilor Gerard?
Thank you, Mr. President. Actually, I was going to suggest that perhaps this should go to the Government Services Committee, since it's not an ordinance, it's not a license or a legal affair. That maybe that would make more sense, that would be the more appropriate committee to go to.
I wholeheartedly agree.
I would ask what the will of the body is on that. Would the body like to put this in Government Services, or would they like to put it into OLA?
It's the rule. It's rules, so it's...
Yeah, it's rules, but it's the rules of how government operates, so our part of the government. So it's, I think, legitimately could go to either place, and it's for the body to determine. Councilor Dibble?
I'd like to make a motion that we put the matter before Committee on Government Services.
So we already have a motion to put it before OLA, do we? I did not track that. I apologize, but I don't think it was seconded to put it into
Councilor
OLA.
Famico brought it in.
Yeah, so.
Second.
Was it?
And she didn't say OLA.
No.
Wasn't seconded.
No, she said be referred to committee.
Refer to committee.
Okay, so.
Right.
So we have a motion to put it into onto Committee on Government Services. Do we have a second on that?
Second.
Seconded by Councilor McCarthy.
Jesus.
So, any further discussion?
Co-posted?
Yeah, co-posted with the Committee of the Whole, right?
Committee hall.
Exactly. It's so long.
Thank you, Councilor. Seeing no further discussion on the motion to refer this to the Committee on Government Services, co-posted with the Committee of the Whole, all those in favor? Opposed? So moved. Communications from city officials.
We have a communication from the city clerk informing the city council that the Massachusetts Election Modernization Coalition awarded the city of Salem a silver medal award for providing substantial early voting opportunities to its citizens.
Councilor Famico.
I move this be received and filed.
Councilor Famico moves this be received and filed. Under discussion.
Yes, well done, City of Salem. I know that the early voting this year, we bet on it early. I know we had the little ad hoc group that was run by one of our counselors, and the city clerks were readily available for that, as was the election office. As someone that voted early just right over here, it was a smooth process, and even a couple days ago, they came and checked another ballots that were done, and some were part of that as well, and the clerk, with all the work she did and the opportunities we had evening times, we had some weekend hours, the regular hours during the day. The clerk might kill me for saying this, but I would love to see more of that in the future. I mean, you already got the silver medal at it. Next time we could maybe get a gold.
Yeah.
Definitely go.
But well done, Cheryl. Well done, Eileen, in your office.
Seeing none, on Councilor Famico's motion, this be received and filed. All those in favor? All those opposed? So moved. And just to echo, wonderful job on that. Councilor Epley.
Mr. President, I move for reconsideration of a matter that was on page 11. That was Councilor Sargent's motion to refer to ordinances, licenses, legal affairs co-posted with the Committee of the Whole. That's and I move for reconsideration for the sole purpose of having that issue in the same committee where we're reconsidering all of our different rules. So I think that's the proper place for it. So if I could get a second from that.
Second.
So Councilor Gerard seconds Councilor Epley's motion. I think we know what the thing is. Any further discussion on that? On Councilor Epley's motion for reconsideration, all those in favor? Opposed? The motion carries for reconsideration. So back to that under discussion on the motion to.
I move that this matter be referred to the Committee on Government Services, co-posted with the Committee of the Whole.
So on Councilor Epley's motion, this now be referred to the Committee on Government Services, co-posted with the Committee of the Whole. Any further? Well, second on that.
Second.
Seconded by Councilor Dibble. Any further discussion on this? Seeing none, on Councilor Epley's motion that this be referred to Committee on Government Services, co-posted with the Committee of the Whole. All those in favor?
No, wait.
What?
it's going back in the Rules Committee that's making.
This was the motion to, on the, or matters that are currently before the Committee of the Whole. So,
Thank you.
on Councilor Epley's motion, that this now be referred instead to Government Services co-posted, all those in favor? Opposed? So moved. Petitions.
Communication from Michael Weiss, manager of 15 Robinson Road LLC, informing the council of a change in name and ownership for a junk dealer's license for the remainder of 2016. Current junk dealer license issued to A&H Auto Exchange, 15 Robinson Road, to 15 Robinson Road LLC, 15 Robinson Road.
Councilor McCarthy.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that it be received and placed on file.
Councilor McCarthy moves this be received and placed on file. Under discussion?
No discussion.
On Councilor McCarthy's motion, this be received and placed on file. All those in favor? Opposed? So moved. Further petitions.
We have a request from the Wicked Running Club to hold a road race, the Wicked Frosty 4, on January 1st, 2017, and use of city streets.
Councilor McCarthy.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that it be granted.
Councilor McCarthy moves this be granted. Under discussion.
If I may, can I just look at my calendar for 1 second? Because if Councilor O'Keefe would be remiss if I didn't look to see if the race was on a Sunday during church. And I have to go, is it on a Sunday?
Mr. President?
I'm already registered.
It is not. It is on a Saturday.
Thank you.
Mr. President,
Councilor Milo.
If I may, please, January 1st is actually a holy day of obligation. So,
It is true.
so
Actually,
Catholics are
so that's Thursday,
required to
so-
go to church.
Yes, it is. Sorry, it is on the. It is on Sunday morning.
You had to tell me, now I gotta go.
Is it on a Sunday?
It is Sunday morning.
Is it on a Sunday?
I realize that January 1st is, but they typically don't have it on.
It is Sunday.
Is it on a Sunday?
It is.
Then as much as I love this road race, I don't have an issue with it. They need to somehow come back and alter their start time. I don't know, what time is it starting? As long as-
10. It starts at 10.
Does it start at 10?
Yes.
Usually starts earlier.
No, it doesn't. It starts at 10.
It starts at
Every year,
9.
it starts at 10. Got to give time to recover from the hangover.
And
so you can
only
go run.
because I now attend masses across town at St. Anne's, I don't go to Immaculate. Does someone know? Councilor O'Keefe would be able to tell me right off what the mass schedule is.
8:30 and 11.
No, they alternated them around. I know what the mass schedule is at St. Anne's, but they rotated them around. Because I know that the Spanish mass is at, I want to say noon or 1 o'clock. Maybe it's 11.
This route does not go on Hawthorne Boulevard, by the
They
way.
altered it? Perfect.
No, it doesn't go before Hawthorne Boulevard. It does go down Derby and Essex, but
Right.
it doesn't go down Hawthorne Boulevard.
Perfect, thank you.
So there's a
I don't have an
short
issue with that.
period when they go.
I'm hearing Councilor O'Keefe tap me on the
Yeah.
shoulder right now. Just make
So
sure
right
it's
at
not gonna
10,
interfere with-
right at 10, the first, right at 10 o'clock sharp, the first wave of runners will go by for about 5 minutes, right at 10 o'clock sharp, and then finish in a different direction.
Perfect, thank you.
Councilor Gerard?
Thank you, Mr. President. As someone who's run this the last 5 years, yes, it does start at 10. There is only one wave of runners. We go down Lafayette to Derby, and then we go out through your neighborhood, through Juniper Point, and you guys give us drinks and stuff, and it's great.
Refreshments.
A drink is
Water
a refreshment.
station.
Exactly, it is a water station. There
It's
are
a
water
water
stations
station.
there. And this actually is a really good event that the Wicked Running Club, this is how we raise funds to give out scholarships to local athletes. And so this is one of the 2 races that we do this for. The other one is the Miles Over the Moon. And we have been able to give away a number of scholarships to many people who apply.
Councilor McCarthy?
Yeah, I just want to say, I have no problem with the roadways whatsoever. It's just that sometimes this happened 3 or 4 years ago. It happened to be on a Sunday, and that's when Immaculate had a mass schedule that was all morning. I know that they because of the way that they do the collaborative with the churches, that they move the masses around from, certain times at different ones. As long as it's not conflicting, I don't have an issue with it. Thank you.
I will note that my son also runs this and then jumps in the ocean over at Winter Island right after, and they freeze your fish off. But
Good luck to him on that one.
I do it too. I do that part too. I don't do the run anymore. But can I ask that Councilor Gerard? I know you do stuff with the Wicked Running Club. Can you check that with the? Have somebody from the club check things with the church and just make sure times are coordinated as best as possible.
We're not going by a church.
No, well, you're going close. You're not going directly by it on Hawthorne Boulevard,
Right.
but you will be going by going up
By
Derby. as that,
Derby.
you'll be going up Derby right there, so at about 10:05 approximately, so it's probably worth double checking things with them,
Sure.
so.
9 and 1.
So unless you change the.
Mass
pardon?
is 9 and 1.
Okay, thank you for whoever just checked that. So. This technology, it's a wonderful thing. I would look so the motion is to be granted still. Councilor McCarthy. So on the motion, this be granted. All those in favor? Opposed? So moved. Further petitions.
We have a request from the North Shore Medical Center to hold their annual walk on June 25th, 2017 in use of city streets.
Let the record reflect that Councilors Gerard and Famico are both recused again. Councilor McCarthy.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move this be granted.
Councilor McCarthy moves to be granted. Under discussion.
I just want to say that the North Shore Medical Center and their cancer walk that they do every year is a wonderful event. It's being someone that just visited a friend of mine from college who's in hospice and is battling this terrible disease, affliction, whatever you want to call it. It's just to go over there every year and to see the amount of volume of people that participate in this walk, to try to recognize those who have been taken from us prematurely because of this, and all those who gather in support of those. I think it's a wonderful cause, and I wholeheartedly would recommend everyone support it.
Thank you. Any further discussion? On Councilor McCarthy's motion, this be granted. All those in favor? Opposed? So moved. Further petitions.
We have 2 public guide license applications.
Councilor McCarthy.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that be granted.
Councilor McCarthy moves they be granted. Under discussion.
No discussion, Mr.
On
President.
Councilor McCarthy's motion, these be granted. All those in favor? Opposed? So moved. Further petitions.
We have 1 junk dealer and 2 tag day applications.
Councilor McCarthy.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that they be referred to the Committee on License Orders and Legal Affairs.
Councilor McCarthy moves for these to be referred to the Committee on Orders and Licensed Legal Affairs. Under discussion.
No discussion.
Councilor Epley.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would just note that one of the tag days is on January 15th. I don't know if we'll have a OLA meeting prior to January of 2017.
We'll come up before our next meeting in December, our meeting in December.
Okay, thank you.
So, Councilor McCarthy's motion, this be referred to the Committee on Orders and Licensed Legal Affairs. All those in favor? Opposed? So moved. Further petitions.
We have 4 claims.
Councilor McCarthy.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that be referred to these matters be referred to the Committee on License Orders and Legal Affairs.
Councilor McCarthy moves these referred to the Committee on Orders and Licensed Legal Affairs. Under discussion.
No discussion.
On Councilor McCarthy's referral, the committee motion to refer. All those in favor? All opposed? So moved. Further petitions.
We have 2 signed bonds.
Councilor McCarthy.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that these matters be referred to the Committee on License Orders and Legal Affairs and returned approved.
Councilor McCarthy moves they be referred to the Committee on Orders and Licensed Legal Affairs, returned approved. Under discussion.
No discussion.
On Councilor McCarthy's motion, these be referred and returned approved. All those in favor? Opposed? So moved. Unfinished business.
We have second passage of an ordinance amending traffic, Chapter 42, Section 50B, handicap parking, repeal Broad Street.
Councilor Lovely.
Move approval.
Councilor Lovely moves for adoption, second final passage. On discussion? Seeing none, on Councilor Lovely's motion for adoption, second final passage, all those in favor? Opposed? So moved. Further unfinished business.
We have second passage of an ordinance amending traffic, Chapter 42, Section 50B, handicap parking, repeal Geneva Street.
Councilor Gerard?
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for adoption for second and final passage.
Councilor Gerard moves for adoption for second and final passage. Under discussion?
No discussion.
Councilor Gerard's motion for adoption for second and final passage. All those in favor? Opposed? So moved. Further unfinished business.
We have second passage of an ordinance amending traffic, Chapter 42, Section 50B, handicap parking, repeal Wisteria Street.
Councilor Gerard.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for adoption for second and final passage.
Councilor Gerard moves for adoption for second and final passage. Under discussion?
No discussion.
On Councilor Gerard's motion for adoption for second and final passage. All those in favor? Opposed? So moved. Further unfinished business.
We have second passage of an ordinance amending traffic, Chapter 42, Section 75, resident sticker parking, Lafayette Street.
Councilor Gerard.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for adoption for second and final passage.
Councilor Gerard moves for adoption for second and final passage. Under discussion?
No discussion.
Councilor Gerard's motion for adoption for second and final passage. All those in favor? Opposed? So moved. Councilor Fury.
Motion to adjourn, Mr. President.
Councilor Fury moves we adjourn. All those in favor? Opposed? We stand adjourned.